subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis. A mysterious light curtain descended upon the heavens, and the title Wang Daxiong was revealed at the beginning. Title King, Nobita. The TV version is timid, but the movie version hits hard. Sharpshooter, Sword Master, Savior. These titles were revealed one after another, and the world was stunned. Fat Tiger. No, is Nobita that powerful? Play Digimon. Does Yamato Ishida deserve the friendship badge? Taichi Yagami. Play Ben 10. Errorless Tian Xiaoban. What? This little watch is so scary. Play the friendship between Nobita and Doraemon. Doraemon is Doraemon. Xiaozhi. What an enviable friendship. How bad is Fat Tiger's singing voice, Kara? That's horrible. Miris versus Puni. Death of Flame Pillar. All the pillars gather to fight against the miserable zombie world. Nobita's resident evil Jungo is a real man, forcing Wang Tiandao to be General Sasuke fights Sukuna. Naruto saved Jiraiya. As each video was exposed, the entire world was in chaos. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 001, Chapter 1. Connecting the heavens, Nobita's shock. Hey, in university dormitory in Jiangnan City, a handsome but slightly thin young man lay on the bed and exhaled heavily, burying his head in the pillow. The young man's name was Yu, and he was an ordinary freshman. It can't even be called ordinary. After all, Yu is an orphan. He has been without a father or a mother since he was a child and lives with his aunt. It was summer vacation, and his roommates had gone home one after another, leaving Yu alone in the empty dormitory. Because he wanted to stay here and work during the summer vacation to make up enough money for the tuition for the next semester. After all, he knew that it was not easy for his aunt to support him alone, and Yu still hoped to share some of the pressure for her. Living in the dormitory did not cost money, which could save him a lot of expenses. This was also the reason why he chose to stay in the dormitory. Fortunately, although his family was not well off, his roommates and teachers also took good care of him. Yu had just come back from his odd job, and a strong sense of fatigue washed over his body all the time. Never mind. Watch an episode of Doraemon before taking a shower. Yu said weakly, and instinctively opened the computer with both hands and clicked on a Doraemon movie. For him, animation is one of his few interests. It doesn't cost money, and it can also wash away his fatigue. Among them, his favorite is Doraemon. When he was a child, and you could only see his aunt a few times a year because his aunt was busy with work all year round. And because of his family background, he was often looked down upon by others when he was a child. It is said that children speak without restraint, and children do not understand how much harm their words can cause to Yu. When he was wronged, sad, and wanted to cry, he would always turn on the TV and watch an episode of Doraemon. He always hoped that I can also be like Nobita in the story and have a Doraemon of my own. I can play with him, laugh with him, make trouble with him, and stand up to protect him when he is hurt. Thinking of this, Yu couldn't help but smile bitterly. However, at this moment, ding, a warning sound suddenly rang in Yu's ears. Yu suddenly came back to his senses, raised his head, and looked around, but there was no one around. At this time, the voice in Yu's head continued to sound successfully bound to the Zhutian projection system. The host can choose any material to project to the heavens and all realms, and can get corresponding rewards at the same time. The video material is all-encompassing, including special effects, TV dramas, movies, and animations, all depending on the host's preference. Yu suddenly reacted, "Isn't this the system that only appears in those online articles? I didn't expect it to appear on me. Could it be that I am the protagonist?" Remuneration. Yu was immediately attracted by these two words. Can I choose any material? What should I choose? Suddenly, Yu glanced at the Doraemon video playing on the computer. He immediately had an idea. Got it. This video will definitely surprise those guys. Yu's mouth curled up slightly, and at the same time, a brilliant idea came to his mind. Congratulations to the host for making it completely for the first time. Get the initial reward. 50,000 renminbi. It will be transferred to the host's bank card through absolutely legal channels. Please don't worry. The greater the response of the subsequent videos to the universe, the more rewards will be given. The next second, ding, and you heard the ringtone of a message coming from his phone. He opened it and saw that the RMB rewarded by the system had arrived. It's true, looking at the balance that he had never dared to imagine before, and Yu's heart was completely relieved. It seems my life has just begun. Doraemon World. In an alley, without the sun shining, it seemed a little dark. Nobita was holding onto the wall, walking forward in small steps. There were bruises all over his body, which were left by Fat Tiger when he hit him. It hurts. Suddenly, Nobita accidentally stepped on a small stone, and his body became unstable and fell directly to the ground. Immediately, Nobita let out a cry of pain. "Hey, I've had enough!" Nobita suddenly shouted, and the wild cat on the fence was startled by Nobita and ran away quickly. Why? I'm always the one who is bullied. Nobita collapsed on the ground, tears welling up in his eyes. The scene of his mother scolding him appeared in his mind. The scene of him being bullied and ridiculed by Fat Tiger and Sunio appeared in his mind. The teacher's eyes, full of disappointment, appeared in his mind. Nobita hugged his head in pain and said in a hoarse voice, "Could it be, do I really have no merits at all? Maybe if I go home now and borrow some props from Doraemon, I can beat up Fat Tiger and Sunio." But this is not what Nobita wants. He also knew that he couldn't always rely on Doraemon, but he just didn't have much confidence in himself. Nobita couldn't help but clench his fists, which were still a little painful. However, just when Nobita was thinking this way, boom! A loud noise suddenly came from the sky. Nobita looked up and his eyes bulged instantly, and he looked at the huge changes in the sky with a shocked face. At this moment, above the sky, a huge hole suddenly appeared, and it seemed that something was about to come out of the huge hole. Not only Nobita, but also Fat Tiger and Sunio in the open space. Doraemon and Nobita Tamako at home, and Shizuka, who was practicing the violin, the residents on the street, were all attracted by this sudden change. "Look, Mom, the sky is cracked." Is this the end of the world? No, I just got a girlfriend yesterday, and we didn't even hold hands. Damn it, I don't even have a girlfriend, so stop yelling. Chapter 2. Reactions from various worlds. There was once such a person, Ben 10 World. In a RV, Xiaoban, come and have breakfast. Tian Mark put 3 large bowls on the table and shouted, "Here." Hearing his grandfather's call, Tian Xiaoban responded and closed the computer. He then looked at Tian Xiaoban, who was still studying the broken watch next to him. "Dai 2, stop studying your alien watch. Grandpa is calling us to eat." "Who are you calling stupid?" "But let me tell you, I found that there is a different icon on this watch. I can transform into 10 different alien heroes. Awesome," Tian Xiaoban said excitedly. After all, boys of his age have no resistance to alien heroes. But, boom! At this moment, a huge roar suddenly exploded in the ears of several people. "What's wrong? Could it be an earthquake?" Tian Xiaoban was shocked. "Look out the window." Tian Xiaoban turned his head and looked out the window and saw that the originally blue sky seemed to be torn open by an invisible force. There was a dazzling golden light flashing in the crack. What is this?" Xiaoban opened his mouth wide, looking stunned. Could it be some alien monster causing trouble again? Xiaoban's hand was already on the broken watch. If there was any danger, he would become a flash star and take Xiaowen and Grandpa away from the scene first. On the other side, when Tian Mark, a legendary plumber, saw this scene in the sky, a touch of shock appeared on his face, and then his brows were tightly knitted together. Even though he was experienced, it was the first time he had seen such a scene. I just hope there is no danger. Now Tian Mark no longer has the heart to continue fighting. He just wants to spend the summer vacation with his 2 grandchildren in peace. Big Head Sun World. Mr. Smallhead, Ms. Apron, please come out and see. The Big Head Sun looked at the huge crack in the sky and rushed into the house, shouting, "Big Head Sun, what happened?" "I'm still cooking." "Stop cooking, come outside and take a look. The sky is cracked." After hearing what Big Head Sun said, April Mom and Little Head Dad didn't care. They just thought that Big Head Son was talking nonsense again. After all, he has always been naughty like this. But in the end, they still couldn't beat him. The three of them walked out the door and took a look. Suddenly, their faces were filled with deep shock. Little Head Dad's glasses even fell to the ground. See, I told you I didn't lie to you. Big Head Son folded his hands over his chest with an expression that said, "You don't believe me." Wow, Uncle Long, what is that? It feels super cool. In the talisman world, Xiaoyu looked at the sky with excitement. Could it be that other demons are planning to invade the world by force? Don't talk nonsense, Xiaoyu. Long scolded, then looked up at the sky, his eyes full of worry. He murmured in a low voice, "Is Xiaoyu really right?" Ding-ling-ling. Suddenly, the phone in Long's pocket rang. He opened it and saw that it was Sheriff Black calling. "Hello, Sheriff Black. I'm Long." "What?" "Okay, I understand." After hanging up, Long's already ugly face became even uglier. "Long, what happened?" True walked out of the antique shop and asked Long. "Sheriff Black told me, according to the investigation of District 13, this phenomenon not only occurred in San Francisco, but also occurred all over the world. Now the whole world is in chaos." Bad luck, bad luck, bad luck. Ah, it hurts." Long touched his head. His father had walked behind Long without him noticing and gave him a slap on the head. Daddy once said, "Don't panic when you get into trouble. Use magic to defeat magic." But this doesn't look like magic at all. Long complained in a low voice. In the Nawa world, on an empty space, King Shan and Duanmu Yin were facing each other, and the atmosphere was tense. Raise the sword of justice, thinking about your own desires. To put it bluntly, he was just avenging his father, but he said he was eliminating harm to the people. Hypocrisy. Ma Qingshan looked at Duanmu Yin in front of him and shouted word by word while gritting his teeth. However, facing Ma Qingshan's ridicule, Duanmu Yan's heart was not shaken at all. He even felt that Ma Qingshan in front of him was like a clown, ridiculous. The corners of his mouth slowly curved up, revealing a sneer and speaking. "I'm too lazy to reason with you. You don't deserve to listen." After the voice fell, he didn't intend to say more to Ma Qingshan and directly took out the Nawa key. Talking to Oxer about reason is just a waste of his precious time. For this kind of ignorant Oxer, just give him a good beating. Flame Nava. Swallow the power of fierce flames. Boom! At the moment when Duanmu Yin turned into the Nawa armor, the originally clear and cloudless sky suddenly turned dark. Ma Qingshan and Duanmu Yin raised their heads at the same time and looked towards the sky. At this moment, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and in the vortex in the middle, there was a huge light curtain shining with golden light slowly appearing in front of the two. That golden light was holy, solemn, and sacred. It seemed to have infinite power. Just looking at it, no matter how powerful the existence was, they would feel that they could not fight against it. Duanmu Yan's expression condensed. Could it be that this was also the work of that group of Oxer? The noise this time was a bit too big. Are those guys ready to start the final action? Thinking of this, Duanmu Yin looked at Ma Qingshan with even more disgust. Damn Oxer, go to hell. The next second, Duanmu Yin controlled the Nawa armor and launched an attack. At the same time, not only these worlds, Pigman World, Masked Rider Universe, Ultra Universe, Fruity Robo World, Conan World, Lolo Adventure World, Seer Universe. In various planes, such a mysterious light curtain appeared, and everyone's attention was attracted by this light curtain. Fear, shock, fear, excitement, doubt, curiosity. Everyone had different emotions in their hearts. There was no doubt that the light curtain was like a bomb with a core that had been ignited, completely exploding in the heavens and the worlds. Just as everyone was looking at the light curtain suddenly flickered. Then a line of ferocious words appeared on that there was such a person. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 003 Chapter 3. Is what the light curtain said a fiction? The speculations of the Demon Kings, there was such a person. He walked in the Cretaceous period. He had been with dinosaurs. He traveled in the universe and annihilated empires with his magic gun. He's been to Bermuda and knows the secrets. He is the warrior who destroyed Ghost Rock City. Doraemon Universe. On the Ice Age, Bermuda, Ghost Rock City, were these places. Doctor, have you heard of it? Kara opened her big watery eyes and blinked at the words that appeared on the screen, her pretty face full of doubts. On the side, the doctor rubbed his chin for a while and finally shook his head. Never heard of it. However, if I remember correctly, this dinosaur should be a prehistoric creature. However, I remember that it should have been completely extinct. Extinct animals? Kara was slightly stunned and touched the furry Dumbo under her body. Doesn't that mean that the people described in these words are from ancient times? Probably not. The doctor shook his head again. How could humans in ancient times travel through the universe? Hey, after hearing what the doctor said, Kara felt that it made some sense. Her bright eyes stared at the light curtain tightly, full of curiosity, which was very cute. She really wanted to know who the person the light curtain was talking about was. The words on the screen did not stop. Instead, they continued to appear line by line. He had once traveled through the demon world and killed the demon king. He witnessed the birth of his motherland. He was once a swordsman and a giant. He used to be Sun Wukong. He was once regarded as the god of creation by 3 or 4 civilizations. He was once a member of the Space Boys Knights. He was once respected as a master by Miyamoto Musashi. Doraemon Universe. On the open ground, Fat Tiger opened his mouth wide, with a look of horror on his face. Who is it? Who on earth is the person mentioned on the screen who is qualified to accept Miyamoto Musashi as his apprentice? You should know that Miyamoto Musashi is one of Fat Tiger's most admired idols. In addition to becoming a big singer, his biggest dream is to become a swordsman like Miyamoto Musashi, to be invincible in the world, and even leave his own name in history. But this light curtain actually said that Miyamoto Musashi actually had a master. Fat Tiger really couldn't imagine how terrifying this person's strength in kendo would be. How is it possible? Sunio was also dumbfounded. I have never heard of Miyamoto Musashi having any master in history. Could this light curtain be a lie? Let's ask Doraemon. Maybe he was the one who created this light curtain. Yes, that makes sense. Suddenly, the two of them had an idea in their minds and ran towards Nobita's house in the demon realm. In the demon castle, King Dima sat on the throne, looking at the light curtain that suddenly appeared in the bloody sky. His brows were furrowed, and his expression was solemn. He had just tried to destroy the light curtain, but after his full-strength attack, the light curtain remained intact. Even when King Dima faced this light curtain, he couldn't help but feel a sense of fear in his heart. It can be seen that this light curtain is not as simple as it seems on the surface. The person behind it must be much more powerful than King Dima. King Dima suddenly raised his eyebrows. His attention was attracted by the words on the screen. To be more precise, it was attracted by the line, "Killed the devil." The devil mentioned above. Could it be that he is referring to me? King Dima thought to himself. However, he really couldn't think of anyone in the world who could be his opponent. Besides, he is immortal, unless you can control his lifeblood. Wait, lifeblood? King Dima paused. His eyes became dangerous. It seems that the future is not as stable as I imagined. He stared at the light curtain, wanting to see what the guy who killed him was capable of. It was not just King Dima. At this moment, almost all the demon kings in the heavens and the world were wondering if the demon king who was killed on the light curtain was referring to themselves. Some warlike demon kings seemed more excited, but some timid demon kings directly gave up their demon king positions. All the demon worlds were in a state of war preparedness. He was once the Sun King of the Mayans. He was once the leader of 3 or 4 worlds that resisted oppression. He was once the savior of Wind Village. He once cracked the secrets of the 22nd century secret prop museum. He once defeated the space-time pirates. As the words appeared, the shock in everyone's eyes became more and more intense. They couldn't imagine it at all. Is there really such a powerful person in this world? Every single thing in it can be recorded in the history books. Ordinary people would be very happy if they could encounter one of them. But there are people in the world who not only encountered it, but also did it. Impossible. These 5 words appeared in almost everyone's mind Conan world. At Dr. Agasa's house, the junior detective team was originally having a meal together, but now everyone's attention is attracted by the light curtain. What is said here must be made up. Guang Yin pointed at the light curtain and said with a very firm tone, "Ah." Why? After hearing what Mitsuhiko said, Ayumi turned her head and looked at Mitsuhiko with doubts. "Ha." Mitsuhiko explained confidently. Dinosaurs became extinct in the Cretaceous period, and it was not until modern times that human technology was able to travel through space. These two things could not have happened in the same period. Not only that, Miyamoto Musashi and the Maya tribe were not from the same period. What's more, there is no Sun Wukong and the Demon King in this world, so this light curtain is nothing but serious nonsense. There is no credibility at all. Is that so, Conan? Ayumi retracted her gaze and turned to Conan. Conan nodded gently. Well, it stands to reason that this is the case. Wow, Conan, you are awesome. Mitsuhiko, however, at this time, Xiao AI, who had been silent all the time, spoke up, but the appearance of this light curtain is not scientific. It feels like anything is possible. Yes, Dr. Agasa also sighed. I have lived for almost a lifetime and only just discovered that there are supernatural powers in the world. It is so amazing. Oreguru world, Heniome world, Sun in the Hatchet world, and Yukoku world, similar conversations like the one above also appear in the world of various daily animations. None of them expected. I actually saw supernatural phenomena that only appeared in novels and comics one day post views. 56. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 004 Chapter 4. Finally revealed. Who is Nobita Nobi? He has set foot on the moon and been to the sun. He once saved Kagaya together with the Espel people. He conquered the sea of stars and crossed time and space. He saved the past and saved the future, saved the earth. Saved the aliens, saved reality. Saved fantasy, saving the world is just his hobby. He and his 5-man team have defeated many demon kings and time-space criminals. He once walked in space. The earth could not hold his feet. The sky was not his limit. The sea of stars was his stage. He travels across time. The past cannot block his eyes. The future cannot change his face. The present is just his adventure. Ultra Universe, Nexus World. Looking at the words that are still appearing on the light screen, there is no sign of stopping. In the Night Raid team, Ikki Kamen's eyes suddenly shrank, and he was shocked and speechless. Is there really someone in this world who can do so many feats? He has never seen such a character since he was a child. Even after accidentally joining the Night Raid team, his knowledge has become much broader than before. But even Mr. Junhimaya, whom he respects the most, is far inferior to the person described on the light screen. So he couldn't help but doubt. Do such powerful people really exist? Nishijo Nagi felt the same way. Her mind was completely focused on the light curtain that suddenly appeared, and she didn't even notice that the coffee in her hand had spilled. If we can pull such a character into our Night Raid team, it will definitely be much easier to eliminate alien beasts in the future. In just a moment, Nishijo Nagi thought of a lot of things in her mind. In the future, we must have a good relationship with such a character. At least we can't become opponents, otherwise it will probably become quite troublesome. Doraemon Universe. On the moon, in a place that should be lifeless, there are suddenly several figures standing there. Not only that, these figures look completely different from normal humans, because they have a pair of rabbit ears on their heads. Aspar Kagaya. Seeing this, Tsukino Luka was stunned, as if a switch had been touched. I haven't heard these words for so long. I almost forgot that I'm from Espel. Looking at what this light screen said, will the Aspar people and Kagaya Star be saved by that person in the future? The beautiful girl standing next to Tsukino Luka's eyes moved, covering her pink lips as if she had seen something unbelievable. The next second, 2 lines of clear tears flowed silently from the corners of her eyes. Very good. Great. I knew this day would come. Although Luna was crying, she had a smile on her face. Yes, I really want to know who saved our Aspar tribe. He is our Aspar tribe's eternal benefactor. Luca's eyes showed joy for the first time in a long time. He hadn't felt this kind of emotion for a long time since his parents forcibly sent him out of Kagaya and came to the moon. Although he is still young, he has a courage that is unmatched by ordinary people. He has a kindness as deep as the ocean. He made countless close female friends during his adventurous experiences. He has been given countless titles. Exactly, Title King, Nobita, Nobi. Finally, when the four characters Nobita, Nobi appeared on the screen stroke by stroke, a piece of exciting background music also sounded Seer World, Nobita, Nobi. Is this the name of the person described in the light curtain? Xiaozhi blinked his eyes. Why had he never heard of this name? If this person was really like what was said on the light curtain, then he couldn't be so unknown. But this name sounds a little bit strange. Xiaozhi complained, bastard. Hearing Xiaozhi's complaints, Ishida, who was standing beside him, suddenly jumped up, took out the two laser knives behind his back, and was about to chop at Xiaozhi. Oh my god! Fortunately, Xiaozhi reacted quickly and rushed forward, barely avoiding Ishida's attack. Is Atai crazy for hitting you? Why did he hit me all of a sudden? Xiaozhi asked him. Ishida snorted coldly. You are not allowed to insult my idol. Your idol? Xiaozhi was stunned at first, then he reacted. Are you talking about the guy named Nobita Nobi? Certainly. From today on, Mr. Nobita Nobi is my most admired idol, and I will not allow anyone to slander him. Nobita nodded without any hesitation, and then continued to chop at Xiaozhi. In fact, Nobita Nobi is a very simple person. He always respects the strong. And looking at the deeds given on the light screen, this Nobita Nobi is definitely a very powerful big man. Even Station Master Justin may not be his opponent. No, not possible, but absolutely. Therefore, Nobita respects Nobita so much, and even points his sword at Xiaozhi. Of course, Nobita did not really take action. It was just like daily training and sparring. You come here. Do you really think I'm made of clay? Xiaomi, let's go. Mika. I'm not afraid of you. Come out, Jage. Seeing this scene, Calula suddenly felt overwhelmed. It was really unlucky to have such a thing. You two stop it. Captain Roger just sent me the latest notice, asking me to check if there is a sire named Nobita Nobi on the ship. However, Ishida and Sai Xiaomi had already started fighting and ignored Calula's words. You two, I'm so pissed off. Come out, Bubu Seed, and hit me hard. In an instant, Calulu also joined the battlefield, and the situation became more complicated. Post views 44. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 005, Chapter 5. The Shock of the Dora world is definitely a coincidence, the world of the five spirit kings, Nobita and Nobi. This name sounds quite domineering. This guy's strength should soon catch up with me. Superman King crossed his hands in front of his chest and commented to the light curtain. While speaking, he showed off his strong muscles. After obtaining the power of the Stone Armor Bear from Pigman, he didn't believe that anyone could be the opponent of the Stone Armor Bear, even the ancient Overlord Dinosaur or Nobita Nobi, who was exposed by the light curtain. Superman Kang's self-confidence is getting bigger and bigger. He even feels that he is invincible now. The boss is awesome. What Nobita? If he were in front of the boss, he would definitely be knocked down with one punch. Superman Kang's loyal younger brother, Bobby, stood aside and praised loudly without hesitation. Well said, ha ha ha. On the other side, Fei and Pigsy stood not far away, looking at these two guys with a few black lines sliding across their foreheads. That Superman is really overconfident, Pigsy complained. Even he didn't dare to say that he would be Nobita's opponent, but this superhuman was so arrogant. He really didn't think that he would be invincible with a Stone Armor Bear. Did he? Because his 5 spiritual powers were forcibly divided, Pigsy still had a lot of complaints in his heart at this moment. Nobita Nobi. Is this the name of the person the light curtain mentioned? So handsome. In the Shihue world, in the sheep village, Mian Jiang's beautiful eyes flashed with deep admiration. Girls like strong, smart, and majestic men, and Mian Jiang is no exception. Damn it, Fiang Yang, who is always paying attention to Mian Jiang, also saw the admiration in Min Jiang's eyes. He immediately clenched his fists and felt a little jealous. Suddenly, a new competitor appeared, and this competitor was much more difficult to deal with than Pleasant Goat. When will Pleasant Goat be able to win the heart of Beautiful Goat? Alien World, Super Beast World, Bunny Bear's World, Kamen Rider World. Almost everyone in the world was staring at the screen with curiosity. They were very curious about this legendary figure named Nobita. However, there was one exception: Doraemon Universe. Nobita's home. At this time, Nobita returned home and saw Doraemon, Fat Tiger, and Sunio in the room. His eyes immediately became alert. After all, the injury on his body was caused by Fat Tiger. Doraemon, isn't this big screen in the sky your prop? Fat Tiger didn't pay attention to Nobita, but turned to Doraemon and asked, "No way. I also haven't figured out what's going on. The technology of this big screen seems to be very advanced. I just used props to analyze it, but I couldn't analyze anything." Doraemon shook his head and denied it. Suddenly, the light curtain in the sky flashed again, and the four big words Nobita Nobi appeared on it. In an instant, everyone present was stunned, and then they all looked at Nobita at the same time. Then, as if they had telepathy, they asked at the same time, "Nobita, why is your name on it?" This, facing the questions of the three people. Nobita was also confused and had no idea what was going on. "I don't know either." Nobita answered stupidly. He could never have imagined that the person on the screen would be himself. That's impossible. Sunio came back to his senses and calmly analyzed. Dinosaurs lived in ancient times. Nobita had never seen one, let alone been with one. Besides, how could there be the Demon King, Sun Wukong, and the like in our world? Nobita, how could it be possible that what is said on the screen is true? In my opinion, it should be just the same name. After hearing Sunio's analysis, Fat Tiger nodded, thinking it made sense. He didn't quite believe that Nobita would be as powerful as what was said on the light screen. Just to say that Nobita had no talent in kendo, it would be hard to beat him. How could a swordsman like Miyamoto Musashi worship him as a master? Absolutely impossible. Although Doraemon didn't say anything, he actually agreed with Sunio's statement. After all, he has been with Nobita for so long, and his understanding of Nobita is deeper than that of Nobita's mother. On the side, Nobita heard Sunio's words, and although he felt a little unhappy, he couldn't refute anything. Although he didn't want to admit it, he really didn't have many advantages. He is a crybaby, lazy, sleepy in class, sports idiot, always gets zeros in exams, and only looks for Doraemon when he encounters troubles. He actually knows all of this. He looked up at the name flashing in the sky. Nobita felt a little strange in his heart. Is Nobi and Nobita on the light curtain really just a coincidence? At the same time, on the street, Nobi Tamako, who was about to go home after buying groceries, also noticed the name on the screen. She stopped and frowned slightly. Why did Nobita's name appear on it? Is this a prank? Nobita is such a fool. Instead of doing his homework properly, he just does these things. Shizuka was doing her homework, but suddenly she felt something and looked up at the sky. Nobita, what on earth happened? Could it be that Doraemon has taken out some strange props again? Shizuka put down the pencil in her hand, slowly walked to the window, and stared at the light curtain above. Suddenly, the light curtain flashed a dazzling golden light. The next moment, the words gradually faded, and scenes appeared on the light curtain, just like a big screen began to play a video chapter 6. The video begins. Unexpectedly, this is Nobita Nobi. The video started playing call. Before the screen was fully lit, a rhythmic snoring sound was heard from the screen. In the classroom, a boy with a crew cut and wearing a yellow short-sleeved shirt and round-frame glasses was sleeping soundly on his desk. From time to time, he would let out a strange laugh, and the saliva dripping from the corners of his mouth showed that the boy slept soundly. On the podium, the teacher's murderous look was completely unaware. Nobita Nobi. The teacher couldn't bear it any longer and yelled in a deep voice. After hearing someone calling him, Nobita Nobi rubbed his hazy eyes and looked around, as if he had not yet woken up. Seeing the teacher's angry expression on the podium, Nobita and Nobi suddenly reacted, stood up in fear, and said weakly, "Teacher, teacher, stand outside the corridor as punishment." Terakoya Eiichiro's face was full of black lines. He looked at Nobita, who was a little dazed, and said directly yes. Nobita lowered his head, hummed, then walked out of the desk and left. Seeing this scene, none of the students present showed a trace of surprise on their faces, and the classroom was even filled with all kinds of laughter, as if this is just a very normal thing, but this is indeed the case. Nobita is basically called out to stand outside the corridor by the teacher every day for sleeping. It can be said that Nobita probably spends more time in the corridor than in the classroom. Nobita. But in a corner of the classroom, a cute girl looked at Nobita's back as he left. A look of worry appeared on his face. Demon World. Demon World, is this boy Nobita? Miyako's expression froze, and the expectation in her eyes instantly turned into deep doubt. There was no other way. After all, the Nobita in the picture was really too different from what she imagined. Shouldn't Nobita be a hero with strong strength, tall stature, and handsome face? The light curtain depicted Nobita so amazingly that Miyako completely brought her own image of the Prince Charming into the picture. However, the final result was unexpected. How could he be so ordinary? Miyako could not feel any aura of a strong man from this person. He was just like an ordinary person. The more critical point is, how could Nobi be an elementary school student? Are you sure he really defeated the Demon King? Miyako, I have told you so many times, the most important thing to avoid when observing a person is to pay too much attention to appearance. Miyako's father, Pastor Manu, noticed the change in Miyako's expression and immediately understood what she was thinking. So he said, "Besides, the video has just started playing. We can't jump to conclusions. Maybe this boy is not as simple as he seems." "Yes, Dad." Miyako nodded, feeling that her father had some truth in what he said. She was indeed too impulsive and superficial just now. So she raised her head again, and her flashing eyes looked at the video again. Nobita. It's actually Nobita and Nobita's house. Fat Tiger and the others looked at the familiar face in the light curtain, and their hearts were shocked. Doraemon stroked his chin. "I didn't expect it's not a coincidence. The person the light curtain said is really Nobita. But it's too weird, isn't it? When has Nobita ever done that kind of thing?" Xiaofu couldn't accept it, no matter how you look at it. It has nothing to do with Nobita. Nobita's mood was also not calm. But what was very annoying was, why would Guangmu show such an embarrassing video of him being caught sleeping in class by the teacher? Isn't this a loss of face for him? How will other people look at him in the future? You said you were so awesome before. Why don't you show me some of my handsome videos? Nobita muttered to himself, feeling very bad. Ben 10 World, what? This Nobita is totally different from what I imagined. Tian Xiaoban looked disappointed and shook his head. Why is he just an elementary school student? I thought he would be a super cool guy. Tian Xiaoban rolled his eyes when he heard this. You idiot. You talk as if you are not an elementary school student. How dare you talk about others? By Xiaofei's World. The corpse King Long Yu sat elegantly on the sofa in the library. When he saw Nobita on the screen, his brows slightly frowned and his fingers tapped on the sofa a few times. Strangeness, why can't I sense any strong aura from this guy? This is the first time Long Yu has seen such a situation. There are only two possibilities. Either this Nobita is really just an ordinary person, or his strength is far higher than his own, so he can't detect it. Interesting. No matter what the result is, it is interesting to him. He raised his lips slightly and looked at the screen again, wanting to see what happened next. After watching the video, people from countless worlds were all a little skeptical about Nobita's image. It was very different from what they imagined. But most of them didn't say much, but wanted to see what happened next. After all, it's hard to draw a conclusion based on just such a short clip. Time passed slowly, and finally school was over. "Hey!" Nobita sighed, returned to the classroom, and touched his swollen and sore legs. Today is another day of standing outside the corridor as punishment. Nobita's teacher, Eiichiro, did not leave, but called Nobita exist. Hearing the teacher's voice, Nobita trembled and quickly responded next. Nobita saw Ichiro holding a test paper, walked to his desk, and then gently placed the paper on his desk. The blank paper was covered with big strokes, and in the upper right corner was an extremely conspicuous 0. Check out the title, King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 007, Chapter 7. Nobita is bullied. Why is it different from what was said before? A. Rolled alongside and did not scold like before, but just looked at Nobita with disappointment in his eyes. Nobita, why do you always get 0 marks in every exam? Even if you study a little, it won't be like this. Ichiro didn't know what to say to Nobita, this student. No matter what he said, it was useless. Those who were supposed to be late were still late, and those who were supposed to sleep were still sleeping. Sorry, teacher. Nobita lowered his head, not daring to look at Ichiro. You decide for yourself. Ichiro didn't want to waste time talking to Nobita, so he shook his head, handed the paper to Nobita, and left. That guy Nobita. I got a 0 again. In the Doraemon world, Nobita Tamako stared with eyes wide open, furious. She was almost pissed off by Nobita's performance in school just now. She used to wonder why Nobita always got 0 in exams. From this point of view, Nobita either slept or stood in the corner when he went to school. How could he learn anything? I'm so mad. I'm going to give him a good beating when I get home. After being lectured by the teacher, Nobita seemed a little depressed, sitting in silence, packing my school bag, but just as he was about to go home, a voice suddenly rang out. Don't leave in a hurry, Nobita. Next second, Fat Tiger and Sunio appeared in front of Nobita. Fat Tiger hooked his arm around Nobita's shoulder, and they seemed to be on good terms. We are still short of 1 player in baseball. You can take over. Yes, yes. Xiaofu, standing next to Fat Tiger, echoed like a little brother. Me? Nobita pointed at himself with a reluctant look on his face. Rather than playing baseball or anything like that, he wants to go home and rest. But seeing Fat Tiger's expression that he would be severely beaten if he didn't agree, Nobita was silent for a while, but finally agreed. Fruity Robo World, that Fat Tiger is really strong, just like a chimpanzee. Chung Liuxiang's attention was immediately attracted by the Fat Tiger who appeared on the screen. Seeing this scene, Pineapple Blowing Snow also guessed, Nobita's baseball skills must be very good, otherwise Fat Tiger and the others would not have specially invited him. But I think Nobita looks reluctant. Lu Xiao was sniffed his nose and then spoke. What do you know? Pineapple Blowing Snow explained. Nobita must think baseball is too simple, so he doesn't want to waste time on it. Is that so? Anyway, the video continues. Out, out, out. But to everyone's surprise, Nobita seemed to have no athletic ability at all. He couldn't catch the ball when he was a catcher, and he couldn't hit the ball when he was a batsman. In this way, under Nobita's leadership, the opponent easily won the game. I won. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. The opponents were cheering, and because of Nobita, this game was much easier. But as Nobita's teammate, Fat Tiger is not in a good mood. Nobita, it's all your fault that we lost the game. At this time, Fat Tiger was extremely angry, and air kept coming out of his nose, like a mad buffalo. That's right, this is all Nobita's fault. Xiaofu quickly followed suit, standing on the same front as Fat Tiger. Didn't you say that Nobita is very good at baseball? This doesn't seem to match what you said. Lu Xiao looked at Pineapple Blowing Snow, staring at his opponent with clear eyes. Lu Xiao's gaze made Pineapple Blowing Snow feel extremely embarrassed. This result was something he had never expected. The world of the 5 Spirit Kings, this Xiaofu and Poppy, are exactly the same type of people. Pigman looked at Xiaofu's face in the picture and immediately thought of Poppy. Poppy also followed Superman King every day, and he agreed with whatever Superman King said. It was really annoying, so, hating Wu and Wu, Pigsy's impression of Xiaofu also plummeted. He hated people who didn't know right from wrong, who would just hide behind others and do whatever others said. But it was you who asked me to join. Nobita said weakly, "What did you say?" Nobita's words directly ignited Fat Tiger's already angry heart, and he seemed to have lost his mind and shouted, "You mean to blame me?" "No, that's not what I meant." Suddenly, Nobita saw that the situation was not good and waved his hand, trying to explain. But Fat Tiger didn't give him any chance. The next second, he clenched his fists and pounced on Nobita like a vicious tiger. The two of them wrestled into a ball in an instant. No, it's not quite accurate to say it was a fight. It should be said that it was Fat Tiger's one-sided crushing. After all, the two of them were not on the same level in terms of size, so Nobita had no chance to fight back. In an instant, Nobita's wailing spread across the entire screen. After a while, when Fat Tiger was tired of fighting and had vented all his anger, he let Nobita go. At this time, Nobita looked very embarrassed. His body was covered in bruises, his clothes were covered in dust, his hair was a mess, and he lay helplessly on the ground. Snort! Fat Tiger snorted coldly and left with the others without paying any attention to Nobita lying on the ground. Doraemon World. Fat Tiger's home. That kid a Fat Tiger. Fat Tiger's mother, who was packing up her things, watched the scene on the screen. She was immediately furious. She had told him countless times not to bully his classmates. Fat Tiger actually ignored her words. When he gets home today, he will definitely have a good fight with the kid's father to prevent him from bullying his classmates again. Brother Nobita, you were so pitiful. The fat girl frowned and looked at Nobita lying on the ground, and suddenly a little pity appeared in her eyes. My brother is really something. He always resorts to violence. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 008 Chapter 8. Nobita, full of tears and reluctance. Digital universe. In the world of the first part, this Fat Tiger is a little too unreasonable. Seeing the scene where Fat Tiger taught Nobita a lesson without saying a word, Yagami Taichi frowned. In his opinion, this Fat Tiger was too unreasonable. It was the guy named Fat Tiger who asked Nobita to play baseball in the first place. If it were him, he would not say anything even if Nobita played badly, let alone hit him. As a result, it is a little unbelievable that Fat Tiger took out all his anger on Nobita. If that is the case, wouldn't it be better not to invite Nobita in the first place? Isn't this just pure bullying of an honest person? Humph! On the side, Ishida Yamato snorted, his eyes full of indifference, and retorted, Nobita was bullied like this, but he didn't fight back. He was so weak that he deserved to be bullied. Ishida Yamato is different from Yagami Taichi. He was born into a powerful family and has always believed in the law of the jungle and the idea that the strong can dominate the weak. So in his opinion, there was nothing wrong with Fat Tiger's behavior. As for Nobita, it was just because he was too cowardly and incompetent. A weakling like him was not even worthy of sympathy. Hearing what Ishida Yamato said, Taichi turned his head immediately, staring at the other person without moving. He clenched his fists on both sides. Ishida Yamato did not give in either. For a moment, the atmosphere became a little tense. Hey, why are they arguing again? Seeing this scene, the companions around shook their heads. During this period, the two of them quarreled almost every day, no matter how big or small the matter was. It seemed that these two people were born to be incompatible. The video is still playing pain. After Fat Tiger and his men left, Nobita dared to stand up from the ground. Touching the wound on his face, Nobita took a deep breath and looked at the dust on his body. Nobita let out a sigh of relief. I'm going to be scolded by my mother again when I get home. Nobita. However, at this time, a voice that sounded a little soft came, very pleasant to the ear, like a spring breeze. Nobita turned to the direction where the voice came from, and a girl was standing there. The girl is pretty and cute, with a look of surprise and worry on her face. Shizuka. Nobita was stunned for a moment. Then he gritted his teeth and turned around and ran away. He didn't want Shizuka to see him in this state of disgrace. Nobita. Looking at Nobita's back, Shizuka couldn't help but yelled, but Nobita didn't stop. Soon, Nobita disappeared from her sight, and Shizuka's face became more worried. Hatchet World. Ito Makoto's eyes lit up, and he stared at Shizuka with a perverted look. What a kawaii girl. Hee hee. This scene was noticed by several female classmates nearby. Their expressions suddenly changed, and they looked at Ito Makoto with disgust, as if they were looking at a pile of garbage. Its disgusting, lowly control, Ito Makoto was speechless and wanted to explain. Before he could utter a word, the female classmates hurriedly fled, avoiding him like snakes and scorpions. In the Doraemon world, a huge ship travels through the space-time tunnel. Sarah, look. Froka pointed at Shizuka in the picture and said in surprise, "This Shizuka looks exactly like you." Yes, the Sarah mentioned by Froku is a little girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. She looks exactly like Shizuka, just like twins. Brother, you said, could it be that Shizuka is the child that her parents secretly gave birth to without telling us? Sarah guessed should. No way. Furoku said a little unsurely. After all, they really look too similar. Video continues playing. Call. Nobita ran to the door of his house panting. I'm back. Just as he opened it, his mother, Nobita Tamako, suddenly stood in front of the entrance, staring at Nobita. Although he didn't say a word, his momentum at the moment was like a flood and a beast, causing Nobita to tremble unconsciously. Mother, Nobita, why are you back so late again? And why are you so dirty? Nobi Tamako suddenly yelled and then angrily rebuked Nobita. Your teacher called me today and asked me if you fell asleep in class again. I also heard from your teacher that you got 0 points in the exam again, right? Can you please let me save some snacks, kid? There are no snacks left for today. Yes. Nobita lowered his head, not daring to refute anything. His heart was filled with helplessness and anger. He had no choice but to pick up his school bag and walk upstairs step by step. His back was very lonely, and it was heartbreaking to see. After returning to the room, Nobita threw his school bag aside, threw himself on the ground, and sobbed softly. Why is it always like this? Why am I always the one who gets bullied? I haven't done anything wrong. Woo woo woo. Doraemon, who was sitting nearby and reading a comic, also put down the comic book in his hand and looked at Nobita. He sighed deeply. It seems that Nobita has been bullied again. This is the first time this month. The picture freezes on Nobita's tearful and wet face. Post views. 46. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are numb. Chapter 009. Chapter 9. Nobita's misdeeds are exposed. But is he really useless? Fox World Taoist brother. This Nobita doesn't look that great. Hong Hong actually thought he was very powerful. Tushan Hong Hong blinked her big eyes, turned her head, and looked at by Yue Chu standing next to her and said, but Nobita looks so pitiful. Not only is he bullied by his classmates, but he is also scolded by his mother when he gets home. Yes, Bai Yuechu nodded, agreeing that he also felt that Nobita was a little too frustrated. But his eyes were soon attracted by Doraemon in the picture. What is this? Nobita has a blue raccoon cat at home. Spell world. Wow. What a big raccoon cat, and it's blue. Xiaoyu's eyes flashed, and there was a strong curiosity in her quirky eyes. Even though she had been adventuring with Uncle Long for so long, it was the first time she saw a blue raccoon cat, and it looked almost as big as Nobita. The blue raccoon cat is a bit strange. How can it read comics? No wonder it is said to be a spirit. Uncle Long's expression was also extremely surprised. After all, although Doraemon did not appear in many scenes, his performance was really too human. Not only could he read comics, but the expression on his face did not seem to be something an animal could make on the Bear Ridge. Big Bear, what kind of animal is that? Xiong pointed at Doraemon in the picture, touched his head with one hand, and asked with a silly look on his face. This, hearing what Xiong said, Xiong was also stunned. Look at the whiskers on his face. He looks like a cat without ears. God, how can there be such a big cat? This is impossible, Big Bear. But Little Bear was full of disbelief. How could there be such a fat cat? Besides, how could a cat have no ears? People from all over the world were extremely curious about the appearance of Doraemon. At this moment, suddenly, the originally dim light curtain began to flicker with golden light again. Then, line after line of text appeared on it again. Statistics of Nobita, Nobi's misdeeds. Destroyed a Lamborghini 1 time. Sold my parents' house once, twice. Stealing money from mom's purse 12 times. running away from home 21 times, playing pranks on the teacher 47 times, playing pranks on dad 84 times, lifting up Shizuka's skirt 122 times, almost destroyed the earth 207 times, playing pranks on mom 322 times, flirting with Shizuka 542 times, see Shizuka naked 627 times, see her world, Acheta. You told me this guy is your idol? Xiaozhi crossed his arms in front of his chest, his face full of scars from the fight with Acheta, and even some parts were knocked off by Acheta. No, this is impossible. Acheta felt the gasoline in his body go cold, and the two laser short blades in his hands fell straight to the ground. He really didn't expect this Nobita is actually such a guy. Not only does he often tease his parents, he even flirts with little girls. This is something that Tiera can never tolerate. He clenched his fists and said, "Damn it, I was wrong this time. You two should stop making trouble. But this kid named Nobita is really naughty. It feels like he has done all the bad things." Calula shook her head. She originally thought that Nobita looked very honest, but it turned out to be like this. One Piece world. On the thousand sunny, how can I stop? How dare Nobita bully Shizuka like this? Unforgivable. If I catch him, I will definitely treat him to my devil's wind kick, Sanji said indignantly. He would not avoid attacking Nobita just because he was young. Hello, did you guys miss the point? Nami felt extremely overwhelmed. You shouldn't be surprised. Why is it that Nobita, a primary school student, almost destroyed the world? That's right. Robin nodded and said, he almost destroyed the earth 207 times. His strength is definitely terrifying. But then why did Nobita fight back when he was bullied just now? Chopper suddenly asked. And the question he asked was actually a question that all the crew members were extremely puzzled about. Demon World. Inside the demon castle, ridiculous. King Dima snorted coldly. His expression became very disdainful. At first, he was actually wondering if the Demon King defeated by Nobita and Nobi would be himself. Now it seems there is absolutely no possibility of this happening, not even a single bit. He, King Dima, is the Demon King who commands the entire Demon Realm Star. How could he be defeated by such a guy? I want to see what kind of Demon King can be defeated by a primary school student. It's a disgrace to our Demon King. Shizuka's home, asshole. When I was away, Nobita actually bullied Shizuka so many times. Shizuka's father immediately clenched his fists. His daughter actually suffered so much injustice outside, and he didn't even know it. Nobita looks quite honest. I didn't expect it to be like this, no. I must talk to his parents. Shizuka's father became more and more angry and stood up to confront Nobita's parents directly. Fortunately, Shizuka's mother was calm enough to stop Shizuka's father. I see that Nobita likes Shizuka quite a bit. Is there any misunderstanding here? Dad, calm down first. Alien world, what? Destroy the world? Zhang Chulin's pupil shrank, and he was incredulous. Nobita is just an elementary school student. How could he be associated with destroying the world? Are you kidding me? Could it be that they are confused? Susan also found it hard to believe what was said on the screen. Destroying the world is something that even the old heavenly master can't do. Wow. I didn't expect that Nobita is a villain. Could it be that he was bullied and turned evil, so he wants to destroy the world? Susie's mentality is better, and he is in the mood to joke. A primary school student destroyed the world? Should I believe him or me, the Qin Shi Huang? Impossible. If I could really destroy the world, I wouldn't have been bullied like this just now. He played tricks on his father, played tricks on his mother, even stole his mother's wallet, and sold the house without his parents' knowledge. This Nobita is truly amazing. I thought I was naughty enough when I was a kid, but compared to Nobita, it seems like nothing. Nobita's parents are really unlucky to have such a son. At the same time, almost all the world began to sneer at Nobita. Even the initial sympathy was weakened, however. The words did not stop, but continued to emerge. But does Nobita really have no merits at all? No. Hidden beneath Nobita's weak appearance is a heart braver than anyone else. He has countless advantages. He is not useless in the eyes of ordinary people. Next steps, the one who appeared was the #1 elementary school student in history, the title king with countless titles, Nobita Nobi. Instantly, a burst of background music sounded in the light curtain, long and exciting. Just like a sunny day after a rainstorm, it instantly made people feel excited. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 010 Chapter 10. The first issue of the title King, Sword Saint. Check out the title King, Nobita Nobi. First issue, Sword Master. Note, since Nobita Nobi has too many titles, it will take a lot of time to count them all at once, so we will use installment inventory. And Nobita's home what? Sword Master. Doraemon and the others looked at Nobita with disbelief. Sword Saint would be Nobita's title. Why don't I believe it? Fat Tiger patted Nobita's thin body and said, "With this body, I'm afraid you can't withstand a blow from my sword." Nobita, tell me quickly, what does this Sword Saint mean? Be gentle, Fat Tiger. Nobita let go of Fat Tiger's hand and shook his head. I'm not sure. I've hardly ever held a sword. Doraemon, standing aside, also said, I know that Nobita's gun skills are very good, but I've never seen him use a sword. Maybe he really has a talent. As for the physique, there have been many famous sword masters in history, but most of them are actually sickly. That's right. At this time, Xiaofu seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly said, I remember that at the beginning it seemed on the screen that Miyamoto Musashi respectfully called Nobita his master. This can't be true. Seer, sword master. I told you that Mr. Nobita is not as simple as he seems. He is definitely playing dumb. He is worthy of being an idol. Uchida raised his two swords and shouted excitedly, totally ignoring his dissatisfaction with Nobita. For a moment, Xiaozhi and Kalyulu were speechless. The speed of changing face is amazing. You said so, Xiaomi Mika Mika. Xiaomi nodded in a humane way. One Piece World, oh. Zoro's tightly closed eyes suddenly opened, and he looked at the light curtain with interest. Swordmaster, this is quite interesting. I hope this Nobi won't let me down in kendo. When did Zoro become so good at showing off? Usopp behind him immediately complained, ha 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 ha. This sentence made everyone on the boat couldn't help but laugh out loud. Hey, you ruined the good atmosphere. Zoro yelled angrily, even pulling out the sword at his waist and swinging it around. The first showdown, Nobita versus Sable. Doraemon. Before the screen was fully lit up, Nobita's shouts echoed. Next moment, in the picture, Nobita is seen running away in a panic with his clothes, pants, and face covered with dust. It seems like I just experienced a chase. At the same time, Nobita's face was pale, and his eyes clearly revealed deep fear and panic. Behind Nobita, a tall and burly figure wearing armor appeared. It turned out to be a black dog, holding a sword in its hand, with a fierce look on its face. The distance between me and Nobita is getting closer step by step. Hearing Nobita's cry for help, Doraemon turned around and said in a helpless tone, every time at this critical moment, the famous sword Daxiong won. The words fell. Doraemon took out a plastic knife from his belly pocket and threw it at Nobita. Nobita subconsciously took the electric pill and looked up at Doraemon again, not understanding what he meant. Use that to block the enemy. After saying that, Doraemon didn't look at it anymore, turned around, and flew away from the screen. Only Nobita was left standing there in a daze, unable to react. With a clang, the blade of the electric pill is covered with golden light. Doraemon Universe, look, it's General Sable. Yes, that guy named Nobita Nobi is not going to fight General Sable. Isn't your question nonsense? Didn't you see that the title says Nobita versus Sable? That guy is definitely not a match for General Sable, who is the strongest in the kingdom in swordsmanship. In the Wang Kingdom, almost every puppy was attracted by the video played on the screen. After all, Sable was so famous in the kingdom that almost every citizen of the kingdom had heard of him. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the strongest in the kingdom. It was extremely difficult to see such a powerful being in normal times, let alone to have the opportunity to watch the battle like now. Oh, Nobita and Nobi. Will this guy fight me in the future? Sable held the sword in one hand, staring at the light screen. He had guessed that the scene in the light screen should be what will happen in the future. But speaking of this battle alone, he was still very confident in himself. He knew very well that his attainments in swordsmanship were definitely beyond the level of ordinary people. Even if Nobita Nobi's title was Sword Saint, he would not necessarily lose. Not to mention, the pill in his hand looked like a toy knife. But this Nobita doesn't look like a dog. Could he be someone from outside the kingdom and Nobita's home dog? Dog-headed man? For a moment, whether it was Nobita, Fat Tiger, or Doraemon, they were all stunned. They didn't expect that Nobita was actually being chased by a dog-headed man, and it was a dog-headed man who could walk on two legs, wear armor, and hold a sword. This scene was a little too fantastic for them. Happy Grey World. In the Wolf Castle, Grey Wolf stroked his chin. I feel like Nobita is at a disadvantage because Sable's size is much bigger than Nobita's, and Nobita is not even up to Sable's neck. I'm definitely not as strong as Sable, and that electric pill, it feels like a rechargeable toy knife. Can it be a match for a real knife? Physique, strength, weapons, and even the armor that Saber is wearing. Nobita has no advantage in any aspect, so Grey Wolf is not very optimistic about Nobita. The gap is really too big. Is that blue raccoon cat called Doraemon? Dad, this name is really weird. Little Hui Hui at the side focused all his attention on Doraemon post views. 47 check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 011 Chapter 11. Battle with Sable, the famous sword Denkamaru at this moment. Most of the creatures in the universe were feeling overwhelmed. Although the video had only been shown for a short time, it had a great impact on them. There are actually dog-headed people in the world. A primary school student holding a sword is fighting a kobold who is also holding a sword. This world is too crazy. There are dog-headed people, but are there cat girls? Many people found it hard to accept. The images on the screen completely shattered the worldview they had formed over the years. The video continues to play. The electric pill seemed to have its own consciousness and controlled Nobita's body to chop towards Sable. Clang! The metallic sound of swords colliding resounds throughout the screen. But the next second, Nobita felt a strong impact, which made him fly backwards and fall heavily to the ground. Oh! Sable raised his eyebrows slightly, revealing a surprised expression. He obviously didn't expect that the weak little kid in front of him could actually block his attack. You can actually block my sword? It seems you're also a master of swordsmanship. Sable put away his contemptuous look and became serious. Let's have a showdown. Sable put both hands on the sword and attacked Nobita aggressively. Watch out. Seeing this scene, Nobita's eyes suddenly widened, but before he could react, his body had already rushed towards Sable uncontrollably. In an instant, the two of them were fighting again. The sound of swords colliding with each other was endless, constantly echoing in the picture. Famous sword Denko Maru, one of Doraemon's props. It looks like a samurai sword and has the ability to automatically detect the opponent's moves and counterattack. It is said that only by holding it, a kendo novice can instantly become a swordsmanship master. But in essence, it is still an unsharpened knife and does not have much lethality. While fighting, the upper right corner of the light screen also made room to introduce the capabilities of the electric pill. For a moment, everyone suddenly realized, Fox World hiss. Just a knife can turn a person who knows nothing about swordsmanship into a swordsmanship master in an instant. This knife is simply a magical weapon. Bai Yuechu was slightly amazed at first, and then his eyes sparkled. Hee, this knife must be very valuable if I can sell it. Thinking of this, Bai Yuechu could already imagine himself swimming in the ocean of money. He didn't even notice that his drool was dripping onto the ground. Lost world this. Isn't this cheating? Bai Xiaofei immediately shouted. If I also have this famous sword, killing a few zombies would be a piece of cake, right? Doraemon world what? Seeing the scene on the screen, Fat Tiger breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Nobita was really good at swordsmanship. Now it seems that he just relied on Doraemon's props. It's no big deal. But this is Nobita, a swordsman or something. How can a sports idiot like Nobita be able to do that? That's right. Nobita has to lie on the ground to rest after running 50 meters. If he didn't have Doraemon's lightning pill, he probably wouldn't be able to last even one move. Fat Tiger and Sunio didn't forget to mock Nobita. Hello. You two guys are going too far. The video hasn't even finished yet, so don't be so confident. Nobita was also angry. Under normal circumstances, he might have endured it. But today, there seemed to be a voice in his heart driving him. Let him shout out what was in his heart. Oh, Nobita, stop daydreaming. If there is a reversal, I, Fat Tiger, will be your little brother for a week. And the same goes for Sunio. Oh, do I want one too? Do you really think that there will be a reversal for Nobita? That's true, but if there is no reversal, Nobita, you'll have a shout in class tomorrow. Fat Tiger-sama, Sunio-sama, I was wrong, so what? Okay. The Xiongxin agreed immediately. Things have come to this point. If he backs down, he would be a coward. Besides, he had a premonition that he would win. Hey, on the side, Doraemon, who had seen the whole process, sighed and looked at Nobita with a hint of worry in his eyes. I hope this is really the case. Clang, 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 clang. The famous sword in the hands of the sword Maru and Sable collided again and again. Anyone can see the fierce battle, however. Despite the blessing of the famous sword ball, Nobita's physical strength was already running out. After a few rounds, he was already out of breath, and his clothes were soaked with sweat. And as time went on, the size difference between him and Sable became more and more obvious. And even the most basic defense became extremely difficult. Not to mention taking the initiative. Sable's condition is obviously much better than Nobita's. He doesn't look like a spent force at all. Instead, he seems to have just gotten into the state. But the misfortunes don't end there. Just when Nobita was about to try to attack again, he suddenly noticed that the sword of Denkagamaru began to flash red. Next, the electric pill made sound. The battery is exhausted. After saying that, the red light of the electric pill disappeared and completely dimmed. The electric pill, without power, was really no different from a plastic knife. No way. Nobita's expression changed instantly, as if he had swallowed a fly alive. It was as ugly as it could be. It's true that misfortunes never come alone. The already difficult situation has now become even more hopeless, with no chance of victory. It was as if a huge rock was pressing down on Sable's scale, tilting it completely towards him. Looking at Nobita, who was standing there in a daze, still at a loss, Sable's expression froze. He felt insulted. He dared to be distracted while fighting with him? Doesn't this mean that the guy in front of him didn't take him seriously from the beginning to the end? You won't fight back? Then I'll attack you. Sable gripped the hilt of the sword tightly with both hands, moved his legs, and rushed towards Nobita at an extremely fast speed, with the cloak fluttering behind him. Hey, Nobita's face changed, and he was frightened and stood still for a moment, without any movement. Post views 54. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 012 Chapter 12. Defeat Saber, the ultimate swordsmanship Doraemon universe. Earth in the 22nd century. Oh no, Nobita is in danger. Doraemon's face changed instantly. She didn't think that without the blessing of the electric pill, Nobita could block Sable's attack. And Sable's attack was even more fierce than before, and he obviously wanted to defeat Nobita with one sword. Grandpa, what should I do? Xiao, who was standing by, was also anxious. If something really happened to Daxiong, wouldn't he also be in trouble? He clearly remembered that his great-grandfather's life was very ordinary, even a little tragic. Otherwise, he would not have let Doraemon go back to the past and correct history. Why is he fighting with a dog-headed general now? Oh, it's all my brother's fault. He really let Nobita fight such a strong man alone. No matter how strong the sword is, it can't cause fatal damage. It's really worrying. Doraemon vented her anger on Doraemon, but even she couldn't do anything at this time. Could she rush into the light curtain and rescue Nobita? Even she couldn't figure out this light curtain. Wang Kingdom That's awesome, General Saber. Kill that guy with one sword. How arrogant. This guy doesn't really think he can defeat General Sable with just a strange knife. I can already imagine him being chopped into pieces. But to be able to fight General Sable for so long, that Nobita is really quite capable. It was obviously only the credit of the lightning pill. Otherwise, that Nobita would never last a single blow from General Sable. In the Kingdom Square, every citizen of the king was cheering, but some kind-hearted people tightly closed their eyes, not wanting to see the bloody scene that was about to happen. Sable's expression did not change, still with a cold expression. All this was within his expectations. He did not think that Nobita would be his opponent from the beginning. He was even a little surprised that he could last so long in his hands, even with the lightning pill. But that lightning pill is quite interesting. It would be a good idea to take it as a trophy after defeating Nobita, Crayon Shinchan World. Nobita, come on, defeat that pitch-black, dog-headed man for me. Shinosuke shouted loudly, cheering for Nobita. Hey, children are not allowed to watch the next scene. But the next second, his eyes were covered by Noera Hiroshi. Nobita is such a pitiful child. He is so young, just an elementary school student. What would happen if his mother saw him? Noera Missy side the video is still playing Sable's sharp sword stab straight at Nobita. And just at the critical moment, when the tip of the sword was about to pierce Nobita's skin, Nobita's body instinctively tilted slightly, just avoiding the incoming sword. Seeing this, Sable did not hesitate at all, and immediately turned the sword in his hand and attacked Nobita. But at this moment, Nobita seemed like a different person. His body became extremely flexible, and he always dodged before the attack fell on him. Even though Nobita was dodging, Sable didn't succeed in hitting Nobita with a single attack. Looking at Nobita, who looked like a loach, veins popped up on Sabre's face under his helmet, and he couldn't help but feel a little angry. The human was clearly less than a step away from him, but he just couldn't hit him no matter what. What a hell. Call. Nobita was breathing heavily, holding the dull electric pill tightly in both hands, looking at Sable with a firm face, and the initial fear was no longer in his eyes. He stopped and assumed a fighting stance, seemingly deciding not to run away anymore, but to have a fair fight with Sable. His whole temperament suddenly changed. Sabir's expression became serious, and there was no more contempt for Nobita in his eyes, because he could feel Nobita's strong belief, as if the person standing in front of him was no longer a child, but a brave and fearless warrior. For a moment, Sable also felt a vague sense of pressure. Fight till the last moment. Come and accept your fate. In an instant, the two rushed towards each other in tacit understanding. But from a distance, compared to Sable, Nobita's figure was so small. Suddenly, the ground shook violently, and Nobita took advantage of the vibration to jump high. Under Sable's shocked gaze, the electric ball fell heavily on his helmet. With a bang, Nobita fell to the ground from midair, while Sable on the other side suddenly stopped. Next, he slowly turned his head and looked at Nobita with surprise and admiration in his eyes. Nice shot. Sable uttered these words, and at this moment, he had completely changed his opinion of Nobita. Next second, with a bang, a crack suddenly appeared in the middle of the helmet on Sable's head, and it split into two pieces and fell to the ground. Then Sabir could no longer hold on and fell straight to the ground. Obviously, the winner of the duel, just now, is Nobita. The dog-headed soldiers who were watching the battle not far away were horrified when they saw this scene. They looked at Nobita as if he were looking at a monster. General Sable has been defeated. Run away. As soon as the words fell, several dog-headed soldiers fled in panic, as if they were afraid of being targeted by Nobita. At the same time, all the creatures outside the universe stared at the video with their eyes wide open, in disbelief, and the horror in their eyes filled their entire eyeballs. What they never expected was the final result of this battle will be like this. Nobita not only defeated Sabir to the ground, but also when the electric pill was out of power. Doesn't this mean that Nobita defeated Sabir almost by his own ability? Although the sudden shock played a big role, It is undeniable that Nobita really knocked Sabir down by his own strength. Seeing this scene, most people's attitude towards Nobita changed, and they took back the idea that Nobita was just a troublesome kid. Some people even changed their faces and began to regard Nobita as an idol. After all, being able to defeat the general of a kingdom at such a young age is not something that ordinary people can do. Post views 42. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 013 Chapter 13. Nobita versus Miyamoto Musashi, a master-disciple duel under the setting Sun Seer world. Marvelous. Nobita was so handsome just now. Atieda was so excited that he even dropped his two swords on the ground. At this moment, there was no other expression in his eyes, only deep admiration. I knew that Mr. Nobita would win. Xiaozhi, who was standing by, was also confused and hadn't recovered yet. Nobita in the picture was clearly at a disadvantage, with almost no chance of winning. How could the situation be reversed in an instant? This feeling was like a contestant was seriously injured while participating in a competition. No one thought he could win the competition, but the next second, he was asked to go on stage to announce his winning speech. In short, it was incredible. The world of spirits, wow. Red Flame Lion. If you learn Nobita's swordsmanship, you will be invincible, Tianyu shouted to the Red Flame Lion who was resting on his shoulder. Hearing Tianyu's words, the Red Flame Lion felt speechless. How can a lion like me hold a sword? Don't think too much. Besides, isn't it more realistic for you to learn the swordsmanship than for me to learn it? I think Nobita is younger than you. Well, Tianyu touched his head, not knowing how to respond. Forget practicing sword skills. He had never even seen a real sword in his life. Alien world, damn it. Watching the scene where Nobita suddenly reversed the situation and knocked Sable to the ground, Zhang Chuan suddenly widened his eyes and blurted out in shock. Could it be that Nobita doesn't know how to play unless his health is low? It's really outrageous. Su-san pushed his glasses and couldn't help complaining. He couldn't win with the help of the electric pill, but he won as soon as the electric pill ran out of power. I even suspected that Nobita was just teasing that Sable just now. Susi spit out the cigarette in his mouth and laughed. It's possible that the electric pill is just to restrict Nobita, but a primary school student can do all this. This Nobita is really a monster. Kamen Rider 01 World. Hiding Group Dead Dog. Great. Fei Jianhoran suddenly sat up from the chairman's chair with a very funny and exaggerated expression on his face. His originally handsome and delicate face looked very funny. Is Nobita really just an elementary school student? He is so strong. Hayden Ordo was very shocked. You know, when he was Nobita's age, he was probably still playing in the mud in the fields. But Nobita was fighting with his life against the enemy and finally won. The difference was not even a little bit. That's right. Suddenly, someone thought of something and said to a sweet-looking woman with a stiff face, "Izzy, can we make a weapon like the Denkagamaru?" Although Nobita did not rely on the Denkagamaru to win, Oren still saw how terrifying the Denkagamaru was. If he could have a weapon similar to the Denkagamaru, future battles would be a lot easier. When Izzy heard Oren's words, he was stunned for a while, and then said, "President, after checking my data, the success rate of the hiding group in creating such a weapon is about 60%. 60%? Build it for me? Doraemon World, how is this possible?" Fat Tiger and Sunio were completely stunned at this moment, and they couldn't believe what was just shown on the screen. Nobita actually defeated the much bigger saber, even when the electric pill ran out of power. Impossible. Nobita, when did your swordsmanship become so strong? Great. Nobita's mood improved a lot, although he felt that the ending would be like this. But feeling is one thing. Seeing it with your own eyes is another. Seeing that he would actually have such a brilliant moment. Nobita's silent heart boiled again, and the self-confidence that had been shattered to the ground was gradually repaired. I can't believe that Nobita is good at swordsmanship besides sleeping, playing catwalks and shooting. Doraemon was also very surprised. He felt like he didn't know Nobita anymore, but seeing Nobita so happy, he also felt happy. Fat Tiger. What did you promise me before? Hateful. I, Fat Tiger, always keep my word. From now on, you are my Fat Tiger's big brother Nobita. Although Fat Tiger was in a bad mood, he still squeezed out these words and then patted Sunio's head hard. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and shout. Okay. Big brother Nobita. Although Sunio was not very willing in his heart, he dared not disobey Fat Tiger and had to shout obediently. Hearing what the two said, Nobita immediately felt proud. He never thought that there would be a day when Fat Tiger and Sunio would call him Big Brother. Just as the heavens and the worlds were all amazed at Nobita's heroic performance in the picture, the dark and light curtain was filled with color again. The second battle, Nobita versus Miyamoto Musashi. Master-disciple duel under the setting sun for the one I love. I must not lose. A line of words appeared on the screen, silver hooks and iron strokes, emitting a sacred glow. When seeing this title, many people became active. With the first video in front, no one ridiculed Nobita's performance. They all looked at the screen with anticipation, looking forward to the video playing. Doraemon World. In a prop museum of the 22nd century, Jean Jia, who was cooking, stopped and blinked her lively eyes, looking very cute. Miyamoto Musashi. I remember, it was the one from hundreds of years ago, the one who is known as the #1 swordsman in Sakura country. Kurt nodded. It should be him, a master-disciple duel. Could it be that Nobita is Miyamoto Musashi's apprentice? Jean Jia rolled her eyes and glanced at Kurt, and complained, "Didn't you watch it carefully before? Didn't it say at the beginning that Nobita was Miyamoto Musashi's master?" "Is that so?" Kurt touched his head and said, "Hey, I was busy doing experiments before, so I didn't look at it carefully, but I remember that there was no time machine in the 21st century. Could it be that Doraemon did this? This is really strange. The A-Dream series are robots produced in the 22nd century, so why would they appear in the 21st century and stay with Nobita?" Puni Bear's World, Xiaozhi. Who do you think this Miyamoto Musashi is? Why haven't I heard of him before? Xiaozhi scratched his head and looked at Xiaozhi and asked, "This I don't know much about it either." Xiaozhi also shook his head. After all, he was just a bear. How could he have heard of such a thing? Oh, why don't we go ask Baldy Wang? He must know. Suddenly, Bung Bung, who was standing at Xiaozhi's feet, suggested, "Oh, that's right." Xiaozhi nodded in agreement. "Let's go and find Baldy King." Post views. 51. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 014 Chapter 14. The Terrible Musashi. Nobita at a disadvantage under the gaze of countless eyes. The light curtain gradually gave rise to a sense of picture. Under the setting sun, Nobita, Doraemon, and Shizuka stand on the beach, all wearing ancient costumes. In front of Nobita and the other two stood a middle-aged man with 2 long swords on his waist. He had a restrained aura, but standing there, he looked like a sword that would be unsheathed at any time. He could not be ignored. Obviously, the man is known as the greatest swordsman in the history of Sakura country, Miyamoto Musashi. Nobita raised his head, looked at Musashi with a smile, and said, "Next, I will duel with Kojiro to become the #1 in Sakura." However, after hearing what Nobita said, Musashi denied it without any hesitation. "No." Then, Musashi stared at Nobita and continued to speak. "Master, please let me discuss with you." Although his tone was very respectful, everyone could feel Musashi's strong fighting spirit. Hearing Musashi's words, Nobita and the other two cried out in surprise, especially Nobita, who was so frightened that he was stunned for a moment. If you don't beat the master, you can't be called the real Sakura #1. Musashi didn't care about Nobita's reaction and continued to speak. "I accept the challenge." Nobita recovered, clenched his fists, and agreed. Nobita. For a moment, Doraemon and Shizuka were stunned. They didn't expect that Nobita would actually dare to accept Musashi's challenge. However, Nobita is very confident because he has the electric pill given to him by Doraemon in his hand. So even if the opponent is the best swordsman in Sakura, he is still not afraid. Next second, in the afterglow of the setting sun, Nobita and Musashi stood facing each other, drew their weapons, and assumed fighting postures. Wow, it was silent except for the sound of waves crashing on the beach. Bring it on. Suddenly, Musashi let out a loud roar, ran towards Nobita with two swords in hand, and launched the first attack. Clang, 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 clang. Since Musashi was holding two swords, the frequency of his attacks was extremely fast. With one sword in each hand, he attacked Nobita desperately, like a violent storm. What's even more terrifying is that this speed is still not Musashi's limit. As the sword lights fell, Musashi's sword-swinging speed became visibly faster, and in the end it even turned into a series of afterimages that were impossible to fathom with the naked eye. And the power did not decrease at all. Every time the long sword landed on the electric pill, a huge and crisp collision sound buzzed. See your world so strong. This Musashi is definitely a strong man. Seeing the terrifying might of Musashi's attack in the picture, Uchihara's pupils suddenly shrank. His face was solemn, and he spoke with horror. Like Musashi, he also used two swords, but he believed that he would never be a match for Musashi at the moment. This guy's attack is so terrible. Can Nobita really withstand it? Kaoru said a little worriedly. Although Nobita defeated Sable last time, anyone with a discerning eye can see that Musashi is much more powerful than Sable this time. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. Doraemon Universe. On the Ice Age so fast. Kara opened her mouth slightly, her fair and cute face full of shock. Already left a residual image. Is this really a speed that humans can reach? If it weren't for this video, she would never have believed that a human body could create an afterimage. Yes, Miyamoto Musashi's swordsmanship should be considered the best in Nobita's world. The doctor crossed his arms and nodded. Kara crossed her arms in front of her chest and asked nervously, "Doctor, do you think Nobita will win?" The doctor shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. I don't know anything about kendo. But even if he wins, it won't be easy. But it's really strange, Kara, you're actually worried about Nobita, even though you don't even know him." After being told this by the doctor, Kara blushed and became shy. After all, girls will definitely have a good impression of strong men, not to mention that Nobita was really handsome in the first video. Motorcycle world, holy shit. What is wrong with this world? So many things can happen to an elementary school student. He is either fighting desperately with the Doghead General or sparring with the world-famous swordsman. Could this Nobita be the son of luck? Luo couldn't help but complain a lot. He thought it was outrageous enough that he entered the game world just because of playing a game. But there was actually a master. Judging from what was shown on the screen at the beginning, Nobita's experience was even more fantastic than his. As an Earth native, he had heard of the name Miyamoto Musashi, so he was more shocked than others. The video is still playing at first. Nobita looked calm and didn't take the duel seriously. But as the battle continued, the relief on Nobita's face disappeared, replaced by growing uneasiness and shock. Because even with the electric pill, his movements slowly began to fail to keep up with Musashi's offensive rhythm. Not to mention attacking. Even defending became extremely difficult, and the body and face began to be covered with drops of sweat. At this moment, Musashi was like a mad beast, desperately waving the two sharp swords in his hands. For a moment, Nobita was suppressed to the point that his face turned pale and he couldn't breathe. Seeing this scene, Doraemon and Shizuka, who were watching the game not far away, were extremely unbelievable. Shizuka's pretty face was filled with anxiety. Her hands clenched into fists. Her heart was filled with uneasiness. Nobita is at a disadvantage. Shizuka wants Nobita to stop fighting, because if he continues like this, even with the famous sword Denkamu, Nobita will definitely be the one who gets hurt in the end. No way. That's a lightning pill. Doraemon's heart was filled with turmoil, because he was the one who took out the electric pill, so he knew even better how terrifying it was. It is no exaggeration to say that in front of the electric pill, no matter who is the swordsmanship master or grandmaster, it will be useless. because the Daangwon has absorbed the unique skills, techniques, and experience of all sword masters from ancient times to the present, and combined them together. Although Nobita is still a child and cannot exert the full power of the lightning pill, he thinks it should be no problem for him to defend himself. However, looking back now, he was totally wrong. He completely underestimated Miyamoto Musashi's swordsmanship and actually suppressed Electric Maru. Miyamoto Musashi's swordsmanship is terrifyingly strong. If this continues, in the end, Nobita will definitely be the loser. Post views 46. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 015 Chapter 15. Nobita's outburst will never give up Shizuka, the bad whirl hiss. What a terrifying swordsmanship. Li Xingyun took a breath of cold air. Although he could see that Musashi's strength was not as good as his. After all, in their world, there were also strong men who could crack the ground with one punch and overturn the rivers and seas. But he could also see that Musashi did not have any internal strength or skills like them. In other words, this Musashi was fighting purely with the strength of his body and the terrifying swordsmanship. If he did not rely on his skills and had a fair fight with Musashi, Li Xingyun would not have much confidence that he could defeat him. If I could also have this swordsmanship, my strength should be able to reach a higher level. Jirushiwa was also a little surprised. Looking at their names and clothes, they should be from Japan. It's hard to imagine that such a small place would have such a powerful swordsmanship master. Li Xingyun shook his head. From what was said before, it is not surprising that Miyamoto Musashi should be the #1 swordsman in the history of Japan. If we look at the entire history, there are many powerful swordsmen born on the land we stand on, and there are even those who are stronger than Miyamoto Musashi. But what surprised me even more was that a little boy like Nobita could fight with the best swordsman in his country and even be respected as a master by him. It was really unbelievable. Doraemon World. Nobita's home, not good. Nobita is in danger. Doraemon's face changed, and it can be seen that Nobita's situation in the picture is not optimistic. He is like a small boat that can be swept and torn apart by the waves at any time. Nobita, you are too arrogant. Don't think that you can accept Musashi's challenge just because you have Doraemon's Lightning Maru. Musashi is the most powerful swordsman in the history of our country. Fat Tiger shouted. Although he often bullied Nobita, they were still friends who had grown up together. He didn't really want to see Nobita in any danger. Yes, I really don't know who gave you the courage, Nobita. But even if you lose, I still admire you very much. Xiaofu also said, well, isn't it still unclear who will win? Nobita scratched his head and said, no way. Do you really want to defeat Musashi? Fat Tiger and the others were shocked. At the same time, in Shizuka's room, Shizuka frowned. Her pretty face looked a little pale. She put her hands on her chest, one above the other. Her knuckles were a little white. She bit her lips, her face full of worry. Nobita, please don't be in trouble. The video is still playing. Musashi saw that Nobita was struggling, so he spoke while attacking. What happened? The master's strength should be much more than this. Nobita gritted his teeth, feeling the pressure from the electric pill in his hand becoming stronger and stronger, so strong that he could hardly hold the knife. At this time, Nobita's face was full of nervous sweat, and he didn't look relaxed at all. Suddenly, Musashi's mouth curled up slowly, and he whispered to Nobita the request I mentioned before. In fact, I want to marry Miss Shizuka. Musashi's words were like a torpedo sunk underwater, completely detonating the ocean. Instantly, Nobita raised his head and looked at Miyamoto Musashi in disbelief. What? I want to marry Shizuka. Next second, Nobita felt the blood in his body boiling with heat, and an indescribable fire arose in his chest. The expression on his face suddenly changed, and he stared at the laughing Musashi with wide eyes. Shouted hoarsely, "This won't do." As soon as he finished speaking, Nobita felt a huge force surging throughout his body, and he directly broke through Musashi's attack. Next, Nobita's momentum suddenly changed, and there was a dangerous aura floating around him. He actually took the initiative to attack Musashi. Seeing this scene, Musashi suddenly smiled, as if his real purpose was to anger Nobita and make Nobita show his true strength. For a moment, the screen was filled with the flashing of swords and the terrifying buzzing sound that made one's scalp tingle. Nobita unexpectedly reversed his previous bad trend and turned the situation around where he could only defend and wait for failure. The battle became more intense. No matter whether it was Nobita or Musashi, both of them were fighting with the belief that they must defeat their opponent. But the brightness of the electric pill in Nobita's hand seems to be gradually dimming. The battery is running out, and the power of the electric pill is also slowly disappearing. Super Beast World, this is exploded. Huolin Fei was shocked when he saw Nobita suddenly become a different person. Meow. Tiaojuan held his head tightly with both hands. His mouth almost dropped to the ground. Damn it. You told me that this Nobita is just an elementary school student. Is this true or not? Could this be the legendary god of nature who has a woman in his heart and draws his sword? This is too exaggerated. Nobita can't really defeat Miyamoto Musashi. Doraemon Universe. At Shizuka's home, my dear, Nobita is very fond of Shizuka. Shizuka's mother hesitated to speak. As a person who had experienced it, she could certainly see Nobita's feelings for Shizuka. She seemed to have underestimated Nobita's determination. In this child's heart, Shizuka seemed to be more important than she thought. Hey, Shizuka's father took off his glasses, sighed, and said, "Let them develop on their own. We should not interfere." Hearing this, Shizuka's mother was a little surprised. "Husband, that's not what you said before." Cough, cough. Shizuka's father coughed twice, and his big face turned red, as if he felt a little embarrassed. At the beginning, I thought Nobita was just a naughty kid. How could I possibly leave Shizuka to her? But now it seems that I was wrong. Nobita might be a very good kid. As Shizuka's father and a man, he can certainly see Nobita's determination to protect Shizuka. Obviously, Nobita really has Shizuka in his heart. He doesn't like Shizuka just because she's pretty like other boys. Besides, in his opinion, Nobita will definitely be able to protect Shizuka in the future. It's better to give his daughter to Nobita than to hand her over to other guys. And his daughter seems to have some feelings for Nobita. Honey, it's great that you think so. However, the future is still long. Let the children decide for themselves. Shizuka's mother said with a smile post-views. 45. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 016 Chapter 16. The Swordmaster Chapter End. Doraemon Universe. Deep in the sea, in the Mermaid Kingdom. Sophia's big watery eyes blinked, and she watched the video motionlessly. Nobita really likes that girl named Shizuka. She said crisply. Her voice sounded very pleasant. Her guard, little Harry, nodded beside her. It can be seen that he stood up for the woman he loves. I have to say that Nobita is really handsome. Yes, it would be nice if I had someone like Nobita by my side. Sophia envied Shizuka a little. Although it sounds simple to stand up for a girl like this, how many people can really do it? It can be seen that Nobita's performance in the picture is almost unbearable for normal girls. Princess, you can talk to the queen. This Nobita is barely worthy of you. Later, we will go to the land to tie Nobita up and make him your consort, little Harry suggested. He really thought that Nobita and the princess seemed to be quite a match. Hate it. What is a prince consort? Sophia blushed. One Piece world, draw your sword for the one you love. So that's how it is. Is your sword's intention to protect? You didn't let me down, Nobita and Nobi. Zoro stood at the bow, stroking his sword with both hands, and said, "Happy gray world, so handsome. Pleasant Goat, if I get robbed in the future, will you stand up for me?" Beautiful Goat looked at Pleasant Goat with an expectant look. This before Pleasant Goat could answer. Feiyang on the side started to shout excitedly, "I will, Mai Jiang. I will definitely stand up for you." After saying this, Feiyang Yang was even more delighted. What do you think? Mai Jiang will definitely be moved by my words. However, Mai Jiang's words ruthlessly punctured Feiyang Yang's fantasy. "I don't want you to save me, Feiyang Yang," Mai Jiang said with disgust. Compared with Xian Jiang, the attitude towards Fiangyang was completely different. This simple sentence made Fiangyang petrified to the ground. His heart seemed to be torn apart, and he felt painful. Conan world, this Musashi is so perverted. Shizuka is so young, but he still wants to marry her. That's right, you have no shame. However, it seems that Nobita really likes Shizuka. Jinta, Ayumi, and Mitsuhiko all complained. Well, Musashi just wanted to provoke Nobita. Maybe he wanted to force out Nobita's true strength so that he could have a fair fight with Nobita. Nobita's strength is also terrifying. I thought that a guy who loves to play football was already very powerful, but it turns out that Nobita is even more terrifying. AI explained, and her eyes kept glancing at Conan beside her. Who is this guy implying? Conan secretly complained in his heart, but to be honest, Nobita's performance was indeed beyond his expectations. He even doubted, did Nobita also take some kind of pill or other methods to transform from an adult into a child like him? In the light curtain, Nobita and Musashi's swords were put together, and both hands were full of strength. For a moment, the situation seemed to be evenly matched. Come on, Nobita. Hearing Shizuka's call, Nobita used up almost all his strength, and the colorless electric pill seemed to feel Nobita's will. A flash of golden light actually cut Musashi's double swords in half. What? Musashi looked at his broken hands. His pupils suddenly shrank, and he was stunned for a moment. And at the moment when Musashi was stunned, Nobita seized the opportunity without hesitation and stabbed at Musashi again. At this point, the winner of this battle has been determined. It's Nobita. The moment Musashi was defeated, the electric maru completely dimmed and became dull. Very good. Nobita. Seeing this scene, Doraemon and Nobita, who were watching the game, shouted excitedly, and their hanging hearts finally settled down at this moment. Call now. Nobita's hands and feet couldn't help shaking. After all, Musashi was too strong. Even if he won the battle, the oppression that Musashi gave Nobita could not be ignored. Well done. Musashi turned around, looked at Nobita with respect, and praised him generously. As Musashi finished speaking, the screen slowly darkened. The light curtain is engraved with paragraphs of text again. Although there were only 2 battles, one could clearly feel Nobita's terrifying talent in kendo. Even with the help of the electric pill, Nobita still faces a small group of people standing at the top of the world. Even if he lost the lightning pill, Nobita can still fight against his opponent and even win the battle. Nobita's belief in picking up the sword is actually very simple. Guard, I just want to protect my family, friends, and the people I care about. It is this belief that allows Nobita to overcome his fear and strike the winning sword even when facing a strong enemy. Nobita, Nobi's first title. The Sword Master chapter ends. The rewards will be distributed soon. Please check in time. Most people nodded their heads at the end of the comment. Nobita's swordsmanship is obvious to all. Although there are still many flaws, his strength should not be underestimated. Moreover, Nobita is still so young, and there is still a lot of room for improvement. The most important thing is, although he is still young, he already has the courage to hold a sword and understands the meaning of fighting. Some swordsmanship masters in the world can't imagine how terrible Nobita's swordsmanship will be if he grows to their age. What a scary boy. Many people thought so. Just 2 videos have completely changed their attitude towards Nobita. This is not a good-for-nothing kid. It's just that his talent has not been discovered yet. Post views 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 017 Chapter 17. The Heart of Kendo, The Rise of Nobita, Magical AO World. Wow. After watching Nobita's 2 battles, Tao Su's eyes revealed admiration. With 2 white and delicate hands crossed in front of her chest, she said, Nobita, you are really amazing. I really envy that girl named Shizuka. Hearing Tao Su's words, Xiaomi, who had been secretly in love with Tao Su for a long time, suddenly had an ugly expression and said sourly, 2 battles is still too few. Isn't it a bit too much to call him a sword master? But unexpectedly, AO was the first to refute. 2 games is not enough. You know, Nobita is about the same age as you. At first, I thought this Nobita looked a lot like you, Xiaomi. Now it seems that this is not the case at all. Ding Dong also said sarcastically, Nobita is so talented in kendo. How can Xiaomi be better than him? Xiaomi looked down and dejected. Mao Mao also looked longingly. Do you think I will appear on this light screen in the future? I think there will be rewards. Everyone was hesitant to speak, and after thinking about it, they decided not to undermine Mao Mao's self-confidence. Doraemon Universe. Above the glacier. Is it over? It's not good enough. Kara was watching with great interest, but the light screen told her that the first round was over. This was undoubtedly like pouring a basin of water on her head. She couldn't help but complain. Don't worry, there will definitely be opportunities later. The doctor comforted. Remember what was written on the screen at the beginning? Nobita has many titles. So many that it is impossible to list them all in one issue. But I'm also very curious about what Nobita's next title will be. And there are rewards. I'm really curious about what the rewards will be. Kara's lively eyes were full of curiosity. It should be quite generous. After all, this light curtain is not simple at first glance. The doctor replied, Crayon Shinchan World. Are all kids nowadays so good? Noera Hiroshi couldn't help but exclaimed, then looked at Shinchan standing next to him with his bottom naked, and suddenly felt overwhelmed. I hope their Shinchan will be like Nobita someday. Wait, Maya suddenly thought of something. I remember Mr. Musashi once said that Shinchan is also very talented in kendo. Mr. Musashi? Hiroshi was stunned, thinking of the scene he just saw, and blurted out, Is it Miyamoto Musashi? Missy rolled her eyes at him and sarcastically complained, Think about it, and you will know that it is impossible. It is Mr. Kenta Musashi who came to my house before and wanted Xiaoxin to learn sword from him. Shinchan, are you interested in learning kendo again? Ha! Shinchan turned around and nodded. Will I be welcomed by the beautiful sister if I learn kendo? A few crows seemed to fly over the heads of Missy and Hiroshi. They were speechless about Shinchan's remarks. Is this what a normal 5-year-old child would say? I have decided. I want to learn kendo. I want to be like Nobita. But at this time, Shinchan suddenly said this. Maya's eyes lit up, and she was very happy. In that case, I will go to practice with Master Musashi later. I remember he told me it's free. Doraemon World. Although she saw that her son would be able to stand on his own in the future like a man, Nobi Tamako was very happy. But she felt a little overwhelmed when she saw the full circle of kendo gym owners surrounding her. Mrs. Nobi, Nobita is definitely a kendo genius. Please let him come to our temple to learn. We promise you that we will definitely train Nobita to become a world-class swordsman in the future. Don't listen to him, Mrs. Nobi. Come to our gym. Our gym owner is a kendo master who won the first prize at the city level, and we can do it for free. It doesn't matter if we don't charge money. As long as Nobita comes to our gym, we can even provide a good harvest every month. Please consider it carefully and don't waste Nobita's talent. Go away, I was here first. The gym representatives around all looked at Nobita with fiery eyes, hoping that Nobita could join their gym. After all, they were not fools. If Nobita's talent was cultivated in the future, it would be almost certain that he would become a world-class master. If they could really get Nobita to join their gym, the reputation of the gym would definitely rise. Therefore, they did not want to miss this great opportunity. Nobita was embarrassed. Can you let me go back and think about it for a few days? I'm rushing home to cook for Nobita and the others. Nobita was a worrying child before, but now he has become excellent, so he still makes her worry. However, she was still very happy in her heart. And Nobita's home. At this moment, Nobita's attention was completely attracted by the light screen that suddenly appeared in front of him. End of this video, congratulations. Nobi has won the reward. A kendo gift pack. Reward. Everyone gathered around Nobita, very surprised. After all, none of them had expected that there would be a reward in the end. Nobita, come and open it and have a look. Fat Tiger urged impatiently. Yes. Nobita nodded, and his fingers lightly touched the light curtain. Kendo gift pack is open. The heart of Kendo. See through the world. Cleanse the marrow and strengthen the body. Instantly, Nobita felt as if a warm current was flowing through his body, as if it was washing his flesh and blood, making him feel comfortable and warm. He felt that his mind seemed to be more clear and alert. This feeling was very strange and difficult to describe in words. It was incredible. If I had to describe it, it felt like his brain was bound by something before, but now it was completely released. After a while, Nobita felt refreshed. He clenched his fists and seemed to have endless energy. He felt very happy. He turned his head and looked at Fat Tiger beside him. His current strength should be better than Fat Tiger's. Nobita, what do you mean by that look? Fat Tiger noticed Nobita's look and took a few steps back because he felt that Nobita was a little strange now, and he looked a little strong. For a moment, he felt a little scared. Fat Tiger, watch out! Fat Tiger's wailing sounded in the whole room. Sunio and Doraemon were both stunned. They never expected that Nobita would suddenly become so powerful. Even Fat Tiger was no match for him. It's over, it's over. Sunio held his head, tears streaming down his face from fear. I used to bully Nobita every day. I won't be the next one. Mom, help me. Doraemon did not say anything to stop them. After all, Nobita was bullied by them every day before, so it was reasonable for Nobita to vent his anger. He just needed to be careful not to let Nobita go too far post views. 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 0, 18 Chapter 18. Ishida Yamato, superficial brothers, and the phantom god of civil war at the same time. The light curtain changed again, and a new round of video was about to begin. Brothers on the surface, phantom gods in a civil war. Does Yamato Ishida from Digimon really deserve the friendship badge? Digimon World, your name is on it, brother. Wu held Patamon and pointed at the words on the screen and said excitedly. After all, he was still young and didn't understand what the words on it meant. But Taichi and the others looked at the description on the screen with strange faces and then looked at Ahi, who was trembling all over. They didn't quite understand the meaning of the Civil War phantom, but the other superficial brother was not a good word at first glance. So it is very likely that this video is completely different from Nobita's and is meant to belittle Ahi. Ahi also reacted, and the excitement of being chosen by the light screen suddenly disappeared. He was so angry that he clenched his fists and was about to explode. The other children took a few steps back. They were still a little afraid of Ahi. However, Taichi and Koshiro didn't care much, because they had a bad relationship with Ahi. Koshiro, what do you mean by this Civil War phantom? Tai asked Koshiro carelessly, not caring at all that Ahi behind him looked as if he wanted to tear him apart. Taichi, I know. Agumon on the side pulled Taichi's sleeve and said, Civil War means conflicts between teams, so it should be people who are good at causing conflicts within the team. After hearing Agumon's words, the murderous intent in Ahi's eyes became even stronger. If it weren't for Agumon holding him back, he would have to fight Taichi and his Agumon to death. Of course, whether he can win in the end is another matter. Doraemon Universe. Demon World. A superficial brother. Could it be that this Yamato Ishida is a superficial brother who likes to betray his friends? Miyako put her finger on her chin and looked at the screen curiously. From this point of view, it seems that this video is not the highlight moment of Yamato Ishida. Pastor Manu nodded in agreement. It feels like the bad things done by this guy, named Yamato Ishida, should be exposed. It seems that stepping onto this light curtain is not necessarily a good thing. Glacier Doctor, what is this friendship badge? Kara asked with a puzzled look on her face. The doctor thought about it, and then shook his head. I don't know either, Doctor. How come you don't know anything? Kara couldn't help but complain. Seer World. What Ishida Yamato? Where is my idol Nobita? I have no interest in Digimon or friendship badges. Tetsuda frowned, feeling extremely bad. He was still looking forward to Nobita's next title. But what about Ishida Yamato? This light curtain made Tetsuda very disappointed. Surface Brothers, Civil War Phantom. These words are not good words. It seems that Ishida Yamato is guilty. Xiaozhi said. On the light curtain, is Ishida Yamato really worthy of the friendship badge? Accompanied by a strange voice coming from the light curtain, a little boy with spiky blonde hair and a handsome but stern face appeared in the screen. Although the boy looks good, most of the audience outside the screen don't like him at first sight, except for some extreme face control. Because Ishida Yamato's expression was really stinky. It was as if everyone owed him $1 million. Any normal person would find it hard to accept it. The voice continued to explain. The handsome, most beautiful and fragrant Sakura, a high-quality Chinese man, can pick up and stop the red luxury car of the exquisite little fairy with just a raise of his hand. He is one of the only 2 male protagonists in the first Digimon series who can achieve ultimate evolution. But I have wanted to complain about him since I was a kid. Even my little notebook has it all written down. Ishida Yamato's performance is simply a destroyer of the team's atmosphere, and he can even be said to be a team-destroying demon. To put it bluntly, he doesn't care about the team at all. So I've had a question since I was a child. Does Yamato Ishida really deserve the friendship badge? Digimon World. In the real world, in a luxurious building. The expression of Ishida Hiroaki, the biological father of Ishida Yamato, suddenly became extremely ugly. At first, he was very happy to see that the light curtain was going to make a video for his son. As a result, the video was only played for a few seconds, and he scolded his son from beginning to end. Although he didn't know what his son did in the digital world, at this moment his son represented not only him, but also the family behind them. You must know that this light curtain is facing the whole world, which means that everyone in the world can see what his son has done. And this is no longer something that can be suppressed by money. When he thought that their family would be ridiculed by other upper-class families and the whole world because of this matter, Ishida Hiroaki felt limp all over and his head was heavy. What's more, it may lead to more serious consequences, such as a drop in the company's stock price. The loss is immeasurable. Armor Hero World Civil War Phantom? Mood Destroyer? A team-breaking maniac? After seeing the description of Ishida Yamato on the screen, Meijin, Shinan, Dongshan, and others all looked unconsciously towards Bei Miao, who was standing behind them. They all suspected that Ishida Yamato might be Bei Miao's biological brother. After all, according to what was said in the video, the 2 men's personalities were too similar. Hey, what do you mean by those looks? Bei Miao shouted angrily as countless pairs of eyes were cast at him. Of course, he also knew what everyone meant and complained with disgust on his face. I have nothing to do with that yellow-haired boy who looks like he deserves a beating. Post views 52. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 019 Chapter 19. Team Destroyer. Ishida Yamato, the video, still continues to complain in the second episode. When everyone falls off the cliff, Taichi and Koshiro are trying to find a way to encourage them to. Yamato sang a different tune and said he didn't want to take any risks. In the third episode, a group of people ventured along the lake. After eating and drinking, Taichi thought Gibuman was very cute and made a joke that the cape should be very comfortable. Ahi hit him hard, and the 2 of them parted unhappily. In the picture, we can see Taichi is smiling and teasing Gibuman, and the atmosphere is full of joy and laughter. But suddenly, Ahi, who had been silent, suddenly exploded and pushed Taichi hard, and the 2 began to quarrel. The atmosphere that was gradually getting better cooled down again. Later, Ahi took the initiative to apologize to Taiyo. Sorry, I have a bad temper. That's why I always stick to you instead of me. Just because he said 2 true words, he blushed and ran to play the harmonica crazily. You should know that this episode is the protagonist of Ahi, the evolution episode. And the reason for his evolution is it's not because his teammates are in danger. It's because his brother is in danger. In the 4th episode, the team came to a group of electric poles. The atmosphere was good, but Ahi suddenly said that he didn't want to take risks. You got full marks in driving tests too, right? Do you drive in reverse every day? Alien World, ha ha ha. I got full marks in the second test, but I drive in reverse every day. It's too vivid. Zhang Chulan couldn't help laughing. But to be honest, it's really a headache to have a teammate who changes his mind all the time and has no team spirit. Susi blew out a smoke ring and complained. When performing tasks, he was most afraid of this kind of teammate who was self-righteous and self-centered. As long as something didn't go his way, he would lose his temper. It was really infuriating. In his eyes, he should be this kind of person. But he doesn't tolerate this kind of guy at all. He should be treated roughly. When he makes trouble, he should slap him hard on the face to see if he still makes trouble. In episode 9, the island was shattered by Devilmon, and each child started their own adventure. But in Ahi's eyes, there is no one else but Awu. Yamato was frantically calling out to his brother on Iceland, and finally Gibuman couldn't stand it anymore and said, "Stay here, I'll go find him." Ahi thought for a long time, but he couldn't utter a word in the end. His last words were to call him Brother Awu again. Later, I met Tai, and we were very happy. Tai analyzed the current situation again. As a result, Ahi, started to have a bad temper again. Based on the previous experience, I don't know whether you just want to save your little brother or really want to save your friends. After Tai calmly persuaded you to stop the crazy military training, you and Ahi still refused to give up, so the two of you started to battle, fighting like crazy. After fighting for a long time, he was no match for Tai and burst into tears. "Woo, I want to find my brother. You can't possibly understand my feelings." Doraemon World. On the Demon World, King Dima snorted disdainfully and uttered 4 words slowly. "A clown. That's right." In his eyes, he was just like a funny clown who made people laugh. He had no real strength, but could only throw tantrums. The most important thing was that after throwing tantrums, he couldn't beat the other person and was beaten up in the snow. It was really embarrassing. Compared to them, the first guy named Nobita is simply a world apart. Even King Dima couldn't help but compare Nobita and Ahi. Of course, the result is obvious. Ahi is handsome, but he is not as good as Nobita in any way. This is also what many people think at the moment. After all, with Nobita and Mingyu in front, Ahi seems too clown. Apart from this face, they really can't find any other advantages of Yamato. But he has always had this stinky face. Even if he is handsome, few people can like him. It's really unlucky to have teammates like this. Damn, I feel so sorry for Taichi, having such a teammate. I really want to see who this guy's parents are to raise a son like this. If I were the one who played Tai, I might have beaten Ahi to death. It was so infuriating to watch, and my fists are stiff. It's really amazing. He broke the team apart with his own strength. I even suspect he's an undercover agent sent by another force. Everyone was complaining. It can only be said that Ishida Yamato's operation was a bit too confusing in their opinion. Peppa Pig World. Oh my god. Having a superhuman is already a headache. If we have another guy like this in our team, Pigman didn't dare to imagine it, fearing that his head would explode. And this Ishida Yamato is even more speechless than Superman King. Although Superman King always looked down on others, he used to steal his credit every day. But in a real fight, Superman King is still useful, unlike this Ishida Yamato, who has no strength and loves to make trouble. Post views. 43. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 020 Chapter 20. Furious Ahi, who has no idea about friendship, can get the friendship badge. Digimon World Puff. Listening to the words in the video, Yamato felt like a silver needle was slowly piercing his heart, going deeper and deeper. The mental pain made him almost spit out blood. His expression became a little more ferocious, completely without the previous coldness. His handsome face became extremely terrifying at this moment. Bastard, who is slandering me? How could I, Ishida Yamato, be such a person? Yamato roared and glanced at everyone. Almost all the children lowered their heads weakly, not daring to look directly at Yamato. Except for Taichi and Koshiro, they were not as timid as the others. This kind of brother, how scary. Ao hugged Patamon tightly, and both the man and the beast were trembling. Ahi calmed down a little. Gibuman touched Ahi's arm with his claws and tried to comfort him. But Ahi couldn't hear anything he said now. He was filled with anger and shook off Gibuman's claws. He roared fiercely, "Don't touch me. You are laughing at me just like them." I didn't." Gabuman waved his paw quickly, his face full of grievance. Umph! He snorted coldly and ignored him. The video continues to play. What follows is the exciting plot. Sure enough, he was acting cool in the last second and was saved by Taichi in the next second. If you didn't have Taichi, I don't know how many times you would have died. Starting from episode 14, with the concept of badge, everyone continues to move forward towards a bright future with hope. This is also the beginning of the super evolution chapter of the first Digimon. In episode 18, and Koshiro were in a deep well and got their respective badges. We all know that the badge Yamato got is friendship, and the badge Koshiro got is knowledge. In the 20th episode, Tai taught us a lesson in our childhood. It really made us understand what courage is even at the age of playing in the mud. It is also a classic clip in the history of Digimon and even the entire animation history. With Machine Greyman's ultimate destructive cannon, Black Goku's body was blown up. After Wukoman was beaten and a space-time rift was created, Taichi, the spiritual leader and team leader, returned to the real world. But Yamato, the second male lead, did not take over from Taichi and take up the lead in the team. We can see that one team was directly defeated, and then the members of the team disappeared one by one and got separated. This team is really not going to work without Taichi's leadership. Then, in the end, there were only two brothers left in the team. Doraemon Universe. Nobita's house. Are you kidding me? Is this guy worthy of the friendship badge? Fat Tiger, who was beaten black and blue by Nobita, suddenly yelled, yes. Xiaofu also nodded and said, I can't see how this he could be called a friend. It feels like this guy is either causing an internal conflict or on the way to causing one. Not only that, look at his expression. He's so arrogant. This young master isn't that arrogant. Fat Tiger clenched his fists. He naturally couldn't stand people like Ahi. If this Ahi appeared in front of me in real life, I would definitely let him taste my fist. At this time, Nobita also said, compared to Ahi, Tai is the only one who is qualified to get this friendship badge. Not only does he have team spirit, he is also very courageous. Even though Ahi quarrels with him every day, he will risk his life to save him. Doraemon said, yes, once Taichi leaves, the whole team will be dispersed. However, with such teammates, Taichi must be very tired. Digimon World 5 Bakialu. Daimon was so angry that his fists hardened. If Fujita, Shuno, and Toma hadn't stopped him, he would have punched Ahi in the face. To calm down, Damon said unhappily. How can I calm down? That kid named Ahi is so annoying. When I think that he is from our world, I get even angrier. This is a disgrace to our world. It would be such a disgrace if people from other worlds saw this. You said so, Agumon. Agumon heard his elder brother calling him, and nodded his head, which was bigger than his body, and said in a hoarse voice, brother, you are absolutely right. This Ahi really deserves a beating. But, bro, Taichi also has an Agumon like me. I wonder who is stronger between me and him. Daimon touched his chin and said, I really admire that guy named Taichi. He is much better than he. Thomas tidied his hair and said, yes, Taichi is a very good captain, but the team has he. Shunai complained, I think he looks average, not as good as Thomas, not even as good as Daimon. Fruity Robo World, how could someone who has no idea about friendship get a friendship badge? So casual. Pineapple Blowing Snow said mercilessly. Nava World, as expected of a team-breaking devil, the team was gone in a short while. After parting ways with King Shan, Duan Muyin focused all her attention on the light screen. But I am quite interested in the Digimon inside. It looks like it can evolve. If I could have one, I would be much more efficient in hunting down Oxer in the future, as expected of a man called the Oxer Killing Machine. Even if he just watched a video, he would think of Oxer post views. 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 021, Chapter 21. Orkru, the disdain of the blood-sucking monster in the light curtain. I don't know if Tai hit you too hard, or if you got the wrong friendship badge. You asked your younger brother to let you go find Tai, but you just scolded your younger brother 3 times in a row. Lost a sentence. We have been attracting thunder for so long, and Tai is still missing. Let's just give up. Doesn't understand anything and just cries while hugging you. So, Is this the correct answer for your brother? Then you have to go to the other side of the river to check the situation. You threw your most caring brother into the amusement park without taking him with you. I can only say that the boat is not big enough. Result: the naive Ao was bewitched by Impmon in no time. Digimon, the badge, and the Tyrannosaurus were all thrown away at once. Episode 23. Ahi's protagonist returns. The super-evolved Beastman, Guru Ahe, and Gabuman came to the other side of the sea and met a Sook who was trapped and working illegally. Ahe took the initiative to help a Sook to work out. Before going to work, I went back to the other side of the river to look for my brother, but was threatened by the Eggmon. If you don't stay in the store and help, I will treat your teammate Azu as a hard-working slave. Then, Ahi stayed to help, but Aju's character was definitely blackmailed. The working time was originally 3 days, but became longer and longer. I couldn't bear it any longer, so he said something to Aju and then left. Luckily, Taichi showed up in time, but even with Taichi, he was still very upset with his Sook. I think his Sook is just a clumsy guy. And then the group fights the black shop. In the picture, believe in friends, believe in friendship. He suddenly raised his head and shouted. At the same time, the Tyrannosaurus Rex in his hand also showed abnormality, emitting a beam of blue light. Then a brisk and exciting evolutionary music sounded. Garurumon evolved. Garurumon, who was lying on all fours, suddenly stood up. At the same time, his body became more sturdy and strong, and his claws flashing with silver light were terrifying. Just like a wolf king with bared fangs and claws, he was imposing. Orc Garurumon just raised his hand and easily blocked the ultimate move of Eggmon, Nightmare Syndrome. Then he swung his claws down, and the powerful attack killed Eggmon in one move and saved his Sook from Snotman. Azu was framed and forced to work illegally, and you, Ahe, complained that he was clumsy. He was almost killed by the tentacle play, but I still believe in you and thank you for your company. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. In the major Pokemon worlds, many Pokemon trainers were very excited after seeing the appearance of Beastman Garuru. Although he is a little bit disgusting, his Gabuman is really good. Whether in terms of combat power or appearance, Gabuman is very good. So cool, this evolved Gabuman can even stand up, just like a human. Oh my god, he killed it instantly with just one claw. Is this Orc Garuru so powerful? It's already said that it's super evolved, so it must be powerful, but such a good Pokemon. Oh no, it should be called Digimon. I actually got it for Yamato. What a waste. To be honest, although Beastman Garurumon is pretty good, I prefer Taichi's machine Tyrannosaurus. It's a dinosaur. Isn't it stronger than a wolf? No. Brother, why did you choose it? Seer World. Wow, is this super evolution? It's so cool. Xiaozhi was very excited. After all, Gabuman, who was so small at the beginning, could actually evolve into a handsome and powerful elf like Orc Garuru. This is almost the dream of all sailors. Xiaomi, do you think you will be able to super evolve like Gabuman in the picture? Xiaozhi immediately looked at Xiaomi, who was lying at his feet, with a look of expectation. Yes, this Orc Garuru is very powerful. But how could it be that Ahi's spirit? If it was Tai, I wouldn't have so many objections. At this moment, Tai frowned and said he had a lot of opinions about Ahi Demon Slayer World. Believe in friends. Believe in friendship. Ha 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 ha. It's so ridiculous. This human is so hilarious. In a room full of traditional Japanese style, the Ghost King Muzan was sipping hot tea, but suddenly, as if he saw something funny, he started laughing. He didn't even care that the hot tea spilled on him, and his laughter was full of sarcasm. If this sentence was said by the boy named Taichi, he would not have such a reaction. However, it's so ironic to hear it coming from Ahi's mouth. He doesn't have any qualities of friendship. It's one thing whether he regards those guys as friends or not. If that Ahi were turned into a ghost, I think it will be very interesting. Muzan thought so, but to achieve this step, he still had to get past the Orc Garuru Digimon world. Are these the chosen children? Vampiremon, one of the 4 Dark Lords, was always paying attention to Taichi and the others' every move on the screen. It seems that his vision is not very good. It seems that these children should not be a concern. The blood-sucking monster thought to himself, and he was even more disdainful of Ahi and his men. To deal with such guys, he only needs to use a little trick, and Ahi will help him disintegrate the team before he even makes a move. Post views 39. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 0, 22 Chapter 22. Double standards. Taichi is simply your biological father Glacier. Hey, how can there be a Digimon called Boogerman? That's so disgusting. Kara hugged her body tightly, looking at the snotlout in the picture with disgust, and she felt a little unwell. The video continues to play knowing that your brother is not by your side. You are anxious, although I have been scolded by you. I have never blamed you at the last moment when his life was in the most danger. It was the sea lion that saved everyone. After listening to what Azza said, you, Ahe, are still doubtful. So you stood there, silently reciting friendship tens of thousands of times, as if you were hypnotizing yourself. Bang. It's super evolution. I'm really sorry. This episode really doesn't reflect the concept of friendship. What does it really have to do with you? Bravely touching the electric grid with Taichi, Koshiro's knowledge and consciousness breaking free from the cyberpunk embrace memories, Sona's struggle and confession with her peace of mind, Asuk's responsibility to save Takaru, etc. In comparison, Yurahi's performance is really bad. While I was a kid, I felt very frustrated when I watched this episode. I felt that Aju was clumsy and was framed. It was so sad. When I grow up, I still feel frustrated when I watch it again. It actually puts friendship and family affection on collision. Now I give you a question. Will you choose friend or brother? The answer is obvious. The answer is to choose your horse. So kill the person who caused a problem, and there will be no problem. After defeating the enemy, he apologized to Azu, blushing and hesitating. Brother, I was wrong. Azu never blamed you, and said frankly that brothers are more valuable than anything else. If Azu really had some ulterior motives, I'm afraid you, Ahe, would have been hit by a big rock when you were fishing. And in this episode, Ahi is still in trouble, and Tai comes out to be the peacemaker. I have to say, Tai is really your father. Puni Bear's world, Guang Tu Qiang nodded in agreement. Although the person in the video was a bit blunt, the truth was that Tai was always the one who cleaned up the mess whenever Ahi got into trouble. Isn't he his biological father? At this time, Xiong, who was beside him, suddenly asked, Bald King, Digimon, who is the Miyamoto Musashi I just asked you about? Bald King glanced at the silly-looking Xiong and kept silent. Museum of the 22nd Century Puff. Ha! He really is my biological father. Jean Jia couldn't help laughing out loud. After all, what this man said was too funny. She couldn't help it at all. In front of Tai, Ahi really looked a lot more childish. There was nothing wrong with saying he was my biological father. Even if he wasn't my biological father, she even felt that he should kneel down and quickly recognize him as her godfather. The World of Digimon Part 1 Asshole. What is Ahi's biological father? That's too much. Ishida Yume was so angry that he overturned everything on the table. If that little brat is Ahi's biological father, then what is he? The real biological father. Hateful. Ahi is going to bring shame to our family this time. Ishida Hiroaki was in a bad mood, and his expression was extremely gloomy. But he only dared to complain. He would never dare to cause trouble for this light curtain. At this time, the phone in his pocket rang. He took it out and saw that it was his ex-wife, Ahi and Awu's biological mother, Takashi Nanako, calling. Hello, Nanako. What's wrong? Oh no, Yumming. The stock price of my father's company began to fall uncontrollably, that my father has fainted and is being treated in the hospital. What should I do now? Nanako's anxious voice came from the other end of the line. What? Ishida Hiroaki's face changed, and he felt a little dizzy. Michel Takaishi, Ahi's grandfather, runs a company in Romantic Country. But he didn't expect that the impact of this video would be so great. This is bad. Ishida Hiroaki sat on the ground, feeling very heavy. In a light curtain after that, there was no return of Ahi for a long time. After the ultimate battle with Vamman, the team returned to the world of Digimon. I didn't expect that after so many episodes, you, Ahi, are still the team atmosphere destroyer. You are still a team-breaking maniac, and you are the only one with eyes for me. In the 43rd episode, during the puppet encounter, Wu was lost because of the puppet beast's teasing, and everyone was very anxious. Later, Wu came back safely, but he was the first one who didn't say hello to you and chatted and laughed with Tai. You feel like you're no longer good enough. Your brother doesn't love you anymore. You have no dignity. You want to leave the team and get angry again. Tai is cheerful and righteous, but you always have a sour face. Who can you blame for this? Think about it again. In the 36th episode, in the real world at Odaiba, Taichi asks you to help keep an eye on Carrie's sister. But in the blink of an eye, Carrie is captured by the vampire monster. Has Tai ever blamed you? Did I ever punch you? If Taichi didn't protect Takaru, would you have to fight him to the death? Doraemon World. Shizuka looked at the light screen with her pretty eyebrows knitted together. Even though she was considerate and gentle, Shizuka was quite dissatisfied with Ahi at the moment, because she also felt that Ahi was too unreasonable. He left the team without permission just for some harmless little things. He didn't take his friends and teammates who had been through life and death with him seriously at all. Thinking that Ahi was holding the friendship badge, Shizuka's face became even more confused. Are you sure you didn't take the wrong badge? No, she even felt that Ahi didn't have a badge that matched him. Alien World. Holy crap. Isn't this Ahi a double standard dog? Zhang Chuan couldn't help but complained. She is such a big sister, and Tai asked you to keep an eye on her, but you let the enemy catch her in the blink of an eye? If I were this guy, I would be too embarrassed to face Tai. Tai has a very good temper. Su-san, who is always gentle, also pushed his glasses and said, if I don't beat Ahi 100 times, I will be too unfair to him. Su-si said, I'm afraid if the situation is reversed, Ahi will definitely fight with Tai because of his brother, and then be beaten by Tai in the fight, and then leave the team alone in autism. This Ahi, he is simply the bane of the team. Post views 30. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 023, Chapter 23. Ahi is not worthy of the Friendship Badge Crayon Shinchan world. They're all children, but the difference is so big. Noera Hiroshi sighed. They're obviously the same age. Why is Ahi different from Taichi and Nobita? That's right. Maya also nodded repeatedly. Ahi's performance in the picture could not be explained by his young age. After all, the others were all still young. So why were the other friends so much more sensible than you, Ahi? I feel that compared to him, our Xiaoxin is much more well-behaved. Of course, I really want to see who Ahi's parents are and how they raised such a child. The screen continues to play episode 44. Crazy self-blame after leaving the team alone. At this time, you, Ahi, have won most of the chapter with the friendship badge, but the tree monster bewitched you and regarded Tai as his opponent again. In that episode, the team had just finished the battle, and you saw Argument was a ruthless freeze cannon. I think you're the one who should be hit by the freeze cannon, right? You yourself felt different after hearing what the tree elf said, and you wanted to have a fight with Tai Yakuchu. Taichi felt that it was unnecessary and had no time to argue with you, but you ended up forcing Metal Garurumon and War Greymon to battle. Well, how strong do you think your fighting partner is? Let's take a look at the record of Battle Greymon. Among the 4 Dark Lords, Battle Greymon took 2 kills, 2 assists, and a 100% participation rate, and took on most of the tough boss battles in the entire show. After carrying the Joker King for most of the episode, what else did you, Ahi's Iron Guru, have except picking up the head of Puppetmon, who was beaten up for most of the episode? As a result, Taichi couldn't bear to see his War Greymon standing there and getting hit by your Metal Garurumon. So he fulfilled your wish and fought you in person offline. Result, you still fight the same way as before, and Tai knocks you away in just a few moves. Do you have the strength to fight against Taichi? In the picture, Taichi could no longer bear Ahi's aggressiveness, so he raised his hand and punched Ahi's face. Bang! Ahi let out a loud shout and was immediately knocked away by Taichi, falling heavily to the ground. There was a burning fist mark on his face, and he looked very embarrassed. On the other side of the battlefield, War Greymon also swung his hand violently and threw away the Metal Garurumon that was biting his arm in the world of the first Digimon. You dare to hit me in the face. You are looking for death. Ahi was like an angry beast, roaring and staring at Tai. All the black material was exposed by this light screen, which made Ahi, who was already strong in self-confidence, hard to accept. And he found that as the video played, his friends around him gradually moved away from him and walked towards Tai. Even his younger brother, Wu, looked at him with fear and alienation. This made him even more furious. Humph! Tai snorted coldly, but did not retreat. Instead, he looked at Ahi and said calmly, "Ishida Yamato, don't go too far with me." Tai, he didn't even want to yell at Ahi. He was already a little unhappy with Ahi, and now he was almost completely at odds with him, so he had no need to continue to give him face. Anyway, this guy was not his opponent. He was just incompetent and furious. "Baka, Gabuman, come on." But after a few seconds, Ahi saw that Gabuman was standing there straight without moving. Ahi felt very embarrassed and immediately looked at Gabuman with some anger and yelled, "Gabuman, come on." Gabuman looked at Taichi and the others in embarrassment, then looked at Ahi as if he had made up his mind. Please don't make the same mistake anymore. Tai and the others are our companions. There is no way to attack my companions. Gabuman, even you betrayed me." Ahi's eyes were slightly red, and his heart was completely broken. He didn't expect that even his partner Digimon would choose to stand on Taichi's side. "Good. Very good, Gabuman. You are no longer my Digimon. Get out of here!" Ahi yelled hysterically. "You guys are out of the digital world without Digimon. You are just a group of the lowest class of civilians. When I leave the digital world, I will be someone you may never catch up with in your lifetime." Thinking of this, Ahi finally felt a little proud. That's right, Taichi and his friends are just children of people with no social status in the real world. But he is different. His father is a senior director of a news company, and his mother is even more extraordinary. He is totally incomparable to Taichi and his friends. Yes, that's it. Ahi showed a crazy smile, and when he returns to the real world, he will definitely make Taichi pay the price. The video continues to play. Fortunately, Jara Shines at this time interrupted this meaningless battle after finding out the meaning of everyone getting the badge and watching the slideshow of memories for a few hours. You, Ahi, still have to leave the team to find your illusory goal and find your own path. Ouch. Please stop causing trouble for the team, okay? It was already the 51st episode when he was whitewashed by Ahi and finally realized that he really treated the team as human beings. But by episode 51, almost everyone has become the golden spirit, the ode to humanity, and there is no digital persuasion anymore. Because the finale is just 2 episodes away, the human Taichi has already come to his senses less than halfway through the film. And throughout the film, he is the main force of the team, working hard for the team without complaint. As a result, not only did he basically not help at all throughout the whole film, he also dismantled the team every day. So it's really far-fetched for the character Ahi to get the friendship badge. I don't think I deserve it. Okay. Post views. 45. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 024, Chapter 24. Video ends. Gabuman chooses Taichi in the light curtain. So who is worthy? In episode 18, Ahe and Mitsushiro got their respective badges in the deep well. Did they get the wrong ones? I didn't mean it the other way around. It's Koshiro who should take 2. Guang Zilong worked hard throughout the series and never had any personality problems. A computer helps the team find weaknesses, open the illustrated guide, and achieve the ultimate evolution of both protagonists. Perfect support, perfect character, simple but not mediocre. Now that you have grown up and look back at Digimon, you'll find that the little guy Koshiro is so lovable. Speaking of friendship, I think the biggest friend of Digital 1 should be Wizardmon. I drank a sip of water from your Tailmon, and I will repay you with my life in this life. What kind of admirable and touching friendship is this? Ahi, do you really understand? So it's still the same sentence. Ahi doesn't deserve the friendship badge. This video has ended. The world is reckoning. Characters being cleared. Rewards are being cleared. In the digital world, Yamato Ishida received a reward. None. In the digital world, Yagami Taichi received a reward. A multi-compatible Digimon machine. After excellent transformation, It can contract with multiple Digimon at the same time. And this Digimon machine can also maximize the true combat power of Digimon. Doraemon Universe, what? Why on earth can this guy get a reward? Fat Tiger suddenly felt a little unbalanced. It was good enough that a disgusting person like Ishida Yamato was not punished, but he actually got a reward. Calm down, Fat Tiger. Look carefully. The reward is not for Yamato, but for Taichi, and Yamato's reward is nothing. Doraemon held Fat Tiger's body and then spoke. Is it for Taichi? Upon hearing this, Fat Tiger was stunned, and when he looked up again, he saw that the reward was indeed for Yagami Taichi. In an instant, Fat Tiger's mood improved a lot. This is okay, that guy called Yagami Taichi, I still have high hopes for him. But why didn't it seem like this at the end of the last video? Xiaofu touched his chin. He vaguely remembered that at the end of the last video, the screen did not announce Nobita's reward. There were no fancy explanations like this. Yes, Nobita also noticed what Sunio said. Could it be because the last video is not completely over yet? It seems to be just the first episode. According to this, there should be several more episodes to come. That should be the case. I'm afraid we have to wait until all of Nobita's titles are counted before rewarding him with a big gift. Doraemon guessed. What? There's a big gift. Fat Tiger and Sunio were immediately jealous. The reward for Nobita's last video had already made them jealous, but according to what Doraemon said, wouldn't Nobita be able to get a lot of rewards in the future? Spell World, Uncle Long, I want a reward too. When can you be selected by the light curtain? The reward under this light curtain must be super good. Xiaoyu pestered Qianlong and kept saying in his ear Xiaoyu. Qianlong held his forehead helplessly. Please forgive me. If I was chosen by the light curtain because of some dark history like Ahi, I would want to die. Don't worry, Uncle Long. You are different from that Ahi. Happy gray world. This Ahi is really pitiful. After being scolded for the entire video, the final reward actually fell into Tai's hands. Gray Wolf said with a sigh, and couldn't help but feel a little sympathy for Ahi. However, when you think of what Ahi did, this sympathy disappears instantly. All you can say is that he deserves it. Ben 10 World, it sounds pretty cool. Although the Digimon machine looks very powerful, Tian Xiaoban still prefers his broken watch. After all, it is more handsome to become an alien hero yourself than to capture an alien creature to fight. Besides, there are no creatures like Digimon in their world. Digimon World, hey, I actually got a reward. Tai was stunned. Obviously, this was beyond his expectation. Then a golden ball of light flew out of the light curtain and landed steadily in Tai's hand. The ball of light dissipated, revealing a brand new Tyrannosaurus Rex inside. And this Tyrannosaurus Rex looked more advanced than the one in his hand. So cool. Tai fell in love with this Tyrannosaurus at first sight. With this Digimon, I can partner with multiple Digimon at the same time. Taichi, when you have other Digimon in the future, don't forget me, Agumon said beside Taichi, looking at Taichi with eyes like an old friend who was neglected, quite complaining. Don't worry, Agumon, I won't just partner with other Digimon. Besides, you are my most important partner. Taichi was in a good mood, but Ahi on the other side was different. When he thought about how he was scolded throughout the video, but ended up getting nothing, Ahi's mentality became a little distorted. He clenched his fists, his pupils widened, and stared at Taichi with hatred in his eyes, as if he was looking at the murderer of his father. Why on earth? That Tyrannosaurus should be mine. It's mine. You bastard. Get it back to me. Ahi rushed to Tai like crazy and snatched the Tyrannosaurus Rex from Tai's hand under Tai's confused gaze. Ah, this is mine. Ahi started laughing wildly, then threw the original Tyrannosaurus Rex heavily to the ground and stepped on it. Before he could get excited, arcs of electricity suddenly burst out from the Tyrannosaurus in his hand. Ah! Ahi screamed, and the Tyrannosaurus was thrown out. Tai raised his hand to catch it, and looked at Ahi, who was electrocuted like charcoal, in surprise, and said in surprise, I didn't expect that this Tyrannosaurus Rex machine has the function of automatically identifying the host. Gabuman looked at Ahi lying on the ground, with a flash of pity in his eyes, but he finally held back and did not go forward. Gabuman, do you want to be my partner, Digimon? At this time, Taichi looked at Gabuman and said. Agumon on the side also said, Gabuman, Taichi is a good person. Not like that, Ahi. Don't worry. If you continue to follow Ahi, I'm afraid he won't like you. After hearing what Taichi and Agumon said, Gabuman's face was a little tangled, but after thinking about Ahi's performance in the video, he nodded gently. I hope you don't blame me, Ahi. Gabuman thought to himself in his heart, Yossi, from now on, Taichi, will be the one with 2 Digimon. We must get along well with each other, Agumon and Gabuman. Agumon and Gabuman looked at each other and nodded. Sona, Koshiro, and Mimi looked at Ahi, who was still lying on the ground and unconscious, and shook their heads. They hoped that he would wake up and know that Gabuman became Taichi's Digimon, and he would not faint again because of anger post-views. 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 025. Chapter 25. Nobita's second title. The God of Sleep Pokemon World Tyrannosaurus Rex? Xiaozhi's hand subconsciously placed on the hat on his head. He said with interest, with that Tyrannosaurus Rex, can Pokemon super evolve? I really want to see what you look like when you super evolve, Pikachu. Pika Pika. Pikachu shook his head, his face full of resistance. So you don't want to evolve? Well, you are pretty good now. Xiaozhi didn't say much. Since Pikachu didn't want to super evolve, he wouldn't force him. Super evolution. I hope my Pokemon can do it in the future. Xiaoxia said expectantly. But as soon as she finished speaking, Psyduck, with a dull face, walked past her step by step. Xiaoxia's face darkened instantly. Forget about you being an idiot. I'm afraid that after super evolution, you will become even more stupid. The screen suddenly flashed again. A new round of video began. Check out Nobi's titles. Part 2. Sleeping God. When seeing the title of Sleeping God, many people in the world had a big question mark on their heads. Why is there such a weird title? There is no way. Compared with the First Sword Saint, this title is really a bit strange. Seer World, Sleeping God. What kind of title is that? Xiaoxi was stunned for a moment, scratching his head in confusion. It should be said that Nobita is very good at sleeping, but this is actually a title, which is far inferior to the first swordsman. Calula guessed, but this title was still a little unexpected to her Demon Slayer world. What the hell? How did he jump directly from Sword Master to Sleep God? I want to see an exciting battle, not a boring sleep or something. Hakihira Inosuke yelled in dissatisfaction, feeling extremely unhappy. He was looking forward to Nobita's next battle. There's actually a god of sleep. It sounds so boring. Sleeping? I think I can sleep well. Agatsuma Zenitsu scratched his face and blurted out. Glacier, are you kidding me? Is this video about Nobita sleeping? Kara frowned and said with a disappointed tone. She had no interest in watching him sleep. Well, don't worry yet. The doctor comforted him. The screen said that Nobita's title is the God of Sleep. Remember this word God. This is not ordinary. Kara curled her lips and rolled her eyes. No matter how godly he is, he still sleeps. Cough, cough, the doctor coughed twice and said, there are differences between sleeping and sleeping. For example, at this point, the doctor seemed to be stuck and could not speak. He really couldn't make up any more stories. The world of joy. In the sheep village, Lazy Sheep's eyes lit up, and he spoke excitedly as if he had found a confidant. Nobita likes sleeping as much as I do, and sleeping is indeed the best thing in the world. As soon as these words came out, all the lambs nearby frowned. However, Pleasant Goat said, does this god of sleep really refer to sleeping? Could it be that there are other meanings? How is that possible? Fingyang glanced at Mian Jiang and then retorted, they say he is the god of sleep. So what else can it mean if not sleeping? Xianjiang, you are thinking too much. Think about it carefully. Nobita's first title is Sword Saint. How could his second title simply mean something as meaningless as being good at sleeping? Pleasant Goat's words made the other goats nod their heads. Because Pleasant Goat is famous for being smart in the goat village, most of the goats still trust him. Hey, how come being good at sleeping is meaningless? Lazy Sheep said loudly, Doraemon world. Nobita's home, god of sleep. This is a Nobita, I know. Doraemon nodded. Having been with Nobita for so long, he certainly knew how terrible Nobita's sleeping talent was. No matter where he was, he would fall asleep as soon as he closed his eyes. This was no joke. Nobita's expression was not very good. He didn't expect that the second title would be the god of sleep. In his eyes, this was not a good title. Ha ha ha. To be honest, Nobita, you really are a sleepyhead. That's right. I've never seen anyone who can sleep better than you. This is the Nobita we are familiar with. Fat Tiger and Sunio both put their hands on Nobita's shoulders and laughed. Maybe this time, we can see Nobita make a fool of himself. In the light curtain for Nobita, his talent in sleeping is far greater than his talent in kendo. It is one of Nobita's 3 top talents. It is no exaggeration to call him the god of sleep. Ha ha ha. Pleasant goat, I told you that you think too much. Doesn't the god of sleep mean sleep? Fiang Yang shouted excitedly, and his eyes quickly turned to Mian Jiang with a smug look in his heart. He was right. Mian Jiang would definitely admire me. Well, I thought too much. Pleasant goat shook his head and sighed. Beautiful goat stepped forward to comfort him. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes. It's normal. Don't be discouraged, pleasant goat. Then when she turned her gaze to boiling goat, her expression suddenly became disgusted. Fiang Yang, if you guessed it right, then you guessed it right. What's so great about that? Instantly, hearing Mian Jiang's words, Fiang Yang felt his heart broken. How could it be completely different from what he imagined? Post views. 41. Check out the title King Daxiong. All the characters in the world are Num Chapter 026 Chapter 26. World Nap Championship. All worlds are Stunned Pirate World. Hey Nami, do you know what the other 2 of Nobita's 3 talents are? Luffy asked curiously. Idiot, Nami wanted to punch Luffy on the head. I don't know Nobita. How can I know? If you want to know, just ask Nobita. Where's Nobita? Do you know Nami? Bang! With one punch, a big bump appeared on Luffy's head in the light curtain. A huge competition venue was filled with people. And the atmosphere was just like the atmosphere at the Olympic Games. Everyone is welcome to come and watch. A celebration of human dreams. World Napping Championships. The voice of the commentator sitting at the commentary desk spread throughout the venue. Today's guest commentator is the champion candidate, Nobita, Nobi's classmate, out of the wood. At this time, when his name was called, Daxiong stood up slightly and greeted the audience. Please take care of me. Nexus World. Night Raid, World Nap Championship. Almost all members of the Night Raid team shouted at the same time. Everyone stared with eyes wide open, unable to believe what they saw in the light curtain. There could be a competition during a nap, and it is a world-class one. It is where no matter how you think about it. Ikki Kamen wiped the non-existent cold sweat from his forehead and complained hesitantly. The captain, Enkara Isuk, thought for a while and explained, but this is also a good thing. Since the people in Nobita's world have nothing to do, they can organize a sleeping competition. Then their world should be peaceful. Peace, Seijo Nagi murmured to herself. If there were no alien beasts, she might be as innocent as Nobita Happy Gray World Nap Championship. Everyone in the sheep village had the same reaction, and all the lambs looked at the light screen with surprise. Lazy Sheep said excitedly, Village Chief, our sheep village will also hold a sheep village nap championship. How about the champion reward being a grass cake? Hearing this, Beautiful Sheep couldn't help but say, Lazy Sheep, you just want to eat grass cake, right? Which lamb in the sheep village can sleep better than you? Even after the truth was exposed by Beautiful Sheep, Lazy Sheep didn't feel embarrassed. Hey, I envy Nobita's world so much. If I were in his world, I could participate in this competition. However, in the Doraemon world, Nobita and his friends were also looking at the screen in bewilderment. They had never heard of such a competition in the world. How is it, Doraemon? Doraemon shook his head. I didn't find anything. I didn't find any information about the World Nap Championship. It's really strange. Xiaofu guessed. Could this be something that happened in a parallel world? I didn't expect that Nobita is even better at sleeping than I thought. Fat Tiger patted Nobita on the back and said, You are actually the alternate champion. Since it is a world-class competition, you must perform well. It's incredible that Daxiong is also a commentator. Eh. Nobita laughed dryly and felt very embarrassed. The commentator then turned his head to Izuki, Mr. Izuki. All the players who are competing this year are seeded players. Jose Luis, the bullfighting representative known around the world as the Sleeping Assassin. As Izuki was introducing the game, a man with a purple-black cape and a purple-brown magic hat and a mustache appeared on the screen. The man was lying lazily on the bed, and a staff member behind him was massaging him carefully, with a confident smile on his face all the time. The football giant known as the god of sleep, Sleeping Los, a sturdy, dark-skinned man appeared, his eyelids slightly closed, and he looked like he was about to fall asleep. Behind him, a staff member was hitting his head with a rubber hammer to keep him awake. The two of them, just looking at their sleeping postures, makes them look terrifyingly strong. In the Jujutsu Kaisen world, Yuji looked at the two people with a serious expression and spoke slowly. Kujisaki Nobara on the side looked at Yuji speechlessly. It's just a sleeping competition. How can they be so terrifying? Is it necessary to be so nervous? Underwater world, Mermaid Kingdom. It's obvious that those two people are masters at sleeping, especially the burly dark-skinned man. It seems that it will be difficult for Nobita to win the championship this time. Sophia's eyes were fixed on the screen, and she spoke while watching the screen. But anyway, as for the representative of the Sakura country, is it possible that Nobita and Nobi can defeat them? Inside the rest shed in Sakura country, Nobita was sitting on a chair, sleepy, while Doraemon was standing behind him, massaging him carefully. Nobita didn't seem to take the game seriously and yawned casually. In the audience, come on, Nobita, come on. Fat Tiger, Sunio, and Shizuka all cheered loudly for Nobita. Shizuka even held up a sign with the words, Nobi Nobita, written on it. Digimon world, is it so formal? It seems that Nobita and his friend's world is really interesting. Yagami Taichi said with interest. Although the sleeping competition sounded a bit nonsensical, he was inexplicably looking forward to it. Chapter 27. 1.5 seconds. A fierce competition. The world record for falling asleep in 1.52 seconds is unmatched. Fat Tiger crossed his hands in front of his chest and was very confident in Nobita. Xiaofu also said, well, it would be better to update the record again. Next up, the World Napping Championships officially started. As soon as the words fell, the entire competition venue was filled with deafening cheers. The first to appear is the assassin of the Sleeping Kingdom, the representative of the bullfighting country, Jose Barry Sleepy Lewis. Tap! As the whistle sounded, the bullfighting player threw his cape and hat out with a gorgeous move. Next, he narrowed his eyes, yawned, and lay down on the mattress in the center of the venue in an extremely elegant posture. The moment he touched the mattress, he fell asleep peacefully, and the hat that flew out finally landed steadily on his head, shielded him from the glaring sunlight. Tap. The current record is 1 second and 50. That's amazing. It broke the conference record in one go. How is it, Daxiong? At this moment, Daxiong also had a serious expression on his face. The record of Nobita, who is known as the immortal legend, was broken so easily. But it doesn't matter. He will definitely create more amazing records. Fruity Robo Whirl, what? Pineapple Blowing Snow was so shocked that her eyes almost popped out. 50 seconds. Even when I was knocked unconscious, it didn't feel this fast. Is this really a speed that humans can achieve? Yes, Chung Liuxiang nodded, his expression no longer as casual as before, and said seriously, I underestimated them before. It should be said that this is a world-class competition, with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Even though it's a sleeping competition, it's surprisingly exciting. Conan World. So cool. Even Conan has to admire that there are still many masters in Nobita's world. 1.5 seconds. I injected my uncle with an anesthetic. I'm afraid he fell asleep even faster than 1.5 seconds. Doraemon Universe, what? 1.5 seconds. He is indeed a master. Fat Tiger clenched his fists nervously, and his original confidence in Nobita was shaken a little. Damn it, Nobita, you must cheer me up. Must win the championship. Yes. Nobita responded, also very surprised. He didn't expect that there was a sleeping expert as good as him in this world. What to do? You'll lose if you keep going like this. Nobita, Doraemon watched the game nervously and was extremely panicked. But Nobita, who was lying on the side, didn't care. Whatever. Let me have a good sleep before the official performance. Ah, really? As expected, you don't forget to sleep at this time. A stable state of mind is the first step on the road to sleep. I forgot this basic principle. As Doraemon spoke, tears began to flow. On the viewing platform, Fat Tiger and his companions were extremely nervous. The record that Nobita had kept for many years was broken when the first contestant came on stage. This was totally beyond their expectations. What should I do? Nobita is going to lose. Fat Tiger hugged Sunio tightly, not noticing Sunio's painful, suffocating expression. Ah, the next contestant. Hearing Shizuka's voice, Fat Tiger stopped and looked over. Next up, the sleeping prince that even the gods envy, the national football representative D. Sleeping Ross. Pirate World D. Sleeping Los? Masaka. Is that guy also from the D clan? Luffy's pupils shrank as he thought of this possibility. But before he could think about it, he was interrupted by Nami's fist. Fool! They're not from the same world as you. So how can your D clan reproduce across worlds? Hey, just a joke, just a joke. Luffy scratched his head and said with a smile tap. The whistle blows.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.